On a peaceful evening, the silhouette of Jawun-yeop stood boldly atop a cliff overlooking the serene landscape. A gentle breeze rustled through the air as he turned to face the unexpected presence behind him. "I didn't expect to meet you in a place like this. It's been 5 years, hasn't it?" he remarked, his eyes fixed on the figure in a flowing white robe before him, revealed to be none other than Seosu Beom. "Has it already been that long?" Seosu Beom replied, his voice carrying a sense of nostalgia. Jawun-yeop couldn't help but notice the changes in his once familiar companion. "You've grown a lot since I last saw you, Jawun-yeop," Seolsu Beom observed, though the atmosphere betrayed any warmth that such a reunion might suggest. With a wry smile, Jawun-yeop responded, "Ha. It wasn't like that in the first place, was it?" The memories of a harsh scolding from the family head echoed in his mind. "I remember getting scolded harshly by the family head. I learned more than just 1 or 2 things from that harsh kick on that day," he reflected, the weight of the past evident in his words. Seeming to read between the lines, Seolsu Beom inquired, "Did you carry that one incident with you all this time?" Jawun-yeop's reply came with a touch of bitterness, "Such kind words. Would you be able to forget that pain so easily?" The tension escalated as swords were drawn, each movement carefully calculated. "It's different from back then," exclaimed Seolsu Beom, the clash of their swords resonating in the quiet evening. Fabric tore as their blades collided, revealing the intensity of their confrontation. "Why don't you try receiving it once? You're using a sword with your district style," Jawun-yeop challenged, his eyes fixed on his opponent. Undeterred, Seolsu Beom launched another attack, met with a resolute defense. "Isn't this Sima's sword technique? I can't believe he is using this kind of sportsmanship," Seolsu Beom, Jawun-yeop remarked, recognizing the familiar technique. As the clash continued, the air thick with the echoes of their past, Jawun-yeop couldn't help but acknowledge the change in his opponent. "You have changed too. Well, I have always wanted to face someone like you," he declared, setting the stage for a battle that held more than just the clash of swords but the echoes of their intertwined destinies. Within the esteemed lineage of the Kamseuk Seol family, a tale unfolded, woven through the ethereal threads of the 6 sword trials. On a bitterly cold winter's day, a disheveled couple left an abandoned child at the gates of the illustrious Kamseuk Seol House, disappearing into the frosty air without a trace. It was a nanny who discovered the forsaken infant and brought them into the confines of the Seol House. And that abandoned child, that servant who emerged from the shadows to serve the household for nearly a decade, is none other than me, Jawun-yeop. As the years unfolded in the opulent halls of the Seol House, a saying lingered in my mind, that even a village school dog could recite poetry after 3 years. Yet, amidst the grandeur, a revelation surfaced. Contrary to public opinion, our esteemed master, Seol Sadak, was an unexpectedly foolish individual. Every morning, the Kamseuk Seol House's master engaged in the sacred ritual of performing the secret technique of the Kamseuk Seol family. His movements, reminiscent of a white grain dancing, birthed the name for his sword technique, the white crane swordsmanship. However, with each passing day, as I witnessed the spectacle, a disquieting realization gnawed at my consciousness. The white crane swordsmanship, as I perceived it, highlighted a defensive posture, one that could effortlessly withdraw at any given moment and regain strength in the subsequent breath. Yet, amid our master's 5th sword stroke, a flaw emerged like a crack in an otherwise flawless facade. As his thoughts danced in the latter part of the stroke, Seol Sadak's voice boomed, shattering the stillness, "You. What are you doing there again?" Caught off guard, I stammered, "Ah. Master sportsmanship is so impressive that I momentarily lost myself and just watched in awe." A dismissive curl of Seol Sadak's mustache followed, accompanied by a disdainful remark, "Humph, what would a lowly servant like you understand even if you see it?" Unsatisfied with his response, I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Vowing to delve into the intricacies of the White Crane swordsmanship's unsettling aspects at another time, I pondered the master's decades of research behind the technique. Yet, even to the eyes of a solitary servant like myself, the flaws in the swordsmanship were starkly apparent, casting a shadow over the seemingly flawless artistry. Amid Jawun-yeop's contemplation, a commanding voice broke through his thoughts. "You rascal! Stop bothering the master and come here right now." A figure emerged from behind, and with a mix of surprise and relief, Jawun-yeop turned to the source. "Grandpa Huang! You're here," he exclaimed, hastening to join the older man. Grandpa Huang, with a stern expression, offered a piece of advice: "Even if it's amazing, it's not polite for a servant to stare at the master so openly. Be careful. It's hard to believe that such a person is a top-notch martial artist in the Purim." Reflecting on Grandpa Huang's words, Jawun-yeop revisited another aspect of his master's life. "And another reason why I consider the master of this person," he thought, "the master's first marriage partner was a woman named Manga. Sadly, he treated Lady Min poorly. Even though I, who only heard stories through the family members and other servants while running errands, could see how great Lady Min was. Despite their differences, Lady Min's wisdom often proved correct in crucial decisions. During these moments, everyone in the Seol family followed Lady Min's lead and respected her. However, this led to a growing jealousy in the head of the family, Seolsadok. Over time, he began to treat Lady Min with increasing coldness. The frostiness extended not only to Lady Min but also to her children. This harsh treatment persisted until Lady Min's passing. In pushing away his family with his foolishness and losing a wise wife, the undeniable truth became clear: the master was truly a foolish man, entangled in the consequences of his actions. Setting aside the intricate background of the Seol family, let's immerse ourselves in the unfolding tale of Jawun-yeop and Seolsu Beom. On a day brimming with joy, Jawun-yeop couldn't contain his elation, exclaiming, "Today's harvest is great once again." His words lingered in the air as the simple pleasures of the day unfolded around him. However, his blissful moment was abruptly interrupted when Seolsu Beom, in a swift motion, yanked him back by the collar. Reacting instinctively, Jawun-yeop let out a defiant shout, "Hey, who dares to grab me by the neck?" As he turned to confront the unexpected aggressor, his eyes widened in recognition. "Why, young master," he exclaimed, his surprise evident. The scene then unfolded into the past, where Jawun-yeop, once a prisoner, had found himself in the role of a slave, running errands around the town at the tender age of 7. "The great master needs a brush and paper. The beautiful ladies need salt and garlic, right?" he mused, recounting the various tasks that occupied his days. The encounter with Seolsu Beom not only disrupted the tranquility of the moment but hinted at a connection that went beyond the surface, a link between the servant and the young master that held untold stories and unexplored depths. As a result, I found myself paying keen attention to the various occurrences in the neighborhood. One day, while navigating the familiar streets, a sense of déjà vu struck me. It's that guy again. Most individuals my age that I encountered on the streets were fellow orphans, like me, driven to pilfer food from others due to the harsh realities of hunger and poverty. For them, survival meant filling their stomachs by any means necessary, even if it led to being caught and facing severe consequences. However, I was different. Without glancing around, I could sense the numerous eyes watching me, and an instinct guided me to traverse a specific path, avoiding the attention of those around me. This unique ability allowed me to acquire a variety of goods, dumplings, rice cakes, pancakes, and more, without arousing suspicion from store owners. The orphans in the village naturally began to follow my lead, and my peculiar skill alleviated the pangs of hunger among the children. It was a bittersweet sensation, knowing that my actions brought relief to hungry stomachs. On one such day, brimming with excitement about my latest harvest. Disaster struck unexpectedly. "The harvest is great today, too," I exclaimed, only to be interrupted by a sharp pull on the back of my clothes. "Hey, who is trying to tear the back of my clothes?" I protested, only to be met with a stern voice commanding, "Put down what you are holding." Startled, I turned to find Jawun-yeop frowning upon my misdeed. "Oh, the great master?" I stammered, attempting to deflect attention from my thieving endeavors. However, he calmly revealed his knowledge, item by item. "This is from Mr. Hong's dumpling shop, this is Yugwa's from the snack shop next to the alley, and you stole this from Mr. Yu's rice cake shop." Caught off guard, I feigned innocence. "What are you talking about?" It wasn't merely a case of being caught in the act, he knew precisely where each stolen item originated. This revelation puzzled me. How could the great master know about my exploits when I had never seen him in the market before? The unexpected encounter left me wondering about the mysteries that surrounded Jawun-yeop and his seemingly omniscient knowledge. The master's fist landed on my chest with a resounding thud, and he shouted, "Now, you're even lying." It hit me like a revelation. I had engaged in this routine over 10 times, yet I had never noticed the great master watching. His exclamation echoed in the air, "Are you still planning on lying?" I stood there, completely caught off guard. Fear gripped me. Everything I did in front of the great master seemed to be visible to him as clearly as the inside of Buddha's palm. However, it wasn't just the fear of physical retribution, it ran deeper. It was the fear that there was someone who could see right through me. His words continued to cut through the air, scolding me in a crowded place deliberately. The intention seemed clear, to make my face known on the street, to expose my actions to the public eye. Yet, amid the reproach, the great master offered an alternative, revealing a clandestine solution. "Outside the front door of our house, there is a hole under the roots of the Zelkova tree. I will put one of my wallets there every day. Whenever you go out to run errands, take it with you and use it to buy food. In return, if you steal just one more time, from now on, I'll cut off your wrists." The gravity of his words struck me, sinking in like an anchor in my consciousness. The choice was clear, a chance at redemption or the perilous consequences of a life as a perpetual thief. It was a stark ultimatum, a harsh reality that forced me to confront the consequences of my actions and consider the path I wanted to tread. If I do this, I will become a servant who has atoned for his sins and earned his master's gratitude. The thrill of stealing will no longer be a part of my life. While the great master, Seosu Beom, possesses a level of insight that makes him the scariest person I know, knowing my movements and identifying the source of stolen items, he is also the one who can guide me towards redemption. However, the head of the family, Solsadok, remains oblivious to the qualities of the great master. Instead, he is captivated by his new wife, playing around with her. This is where I find the head of the family to be lacking in wisdom. The new wife in question is the eldest daughter of the Kamseuk family, Chang Sanmi. She married into the Seol family, Gansu's leading family, to seize power. Clever and manipulative, she used her cunning to create divisions within the family. Initially, witnessing the great master being bullied irked me, but over time, it grew more than just irritating. Why was the great master left defenseless against Chang Sammi's attacks? With his abilities, he could easily put an end to her schemes with a single blow. This imbalance bothered me, and as a mere spectator, I contemplated stepping in. Then, a revelation struck me. That is Seol Sangi. The second daughter of the Seol family, Seol Sangi. Confused by the unusual sight, I wondered, what? This is the Grand Master's room. What's going on with Seol Sangi? She's up to something. Now they are even using their daughter. I won't know unless I check for myself. What kind of trick is this? The unfolding drama within the Seol family compelled me to become more than just an observer, as the layers of deception and intrigue became increasingly complex. In the ancient traditions of the Seol family, conflicts were not uncommon. If anything, they were known to grow and intensify over time. The door to the past creaked open, revealing a brewing storm within the family dynamics, particularly involving the old-fashioned Seol family. Anticipation hung in the air as I wondered if a proper confrontation between Chang Sanmi and the Grandmaster would unfold this time. Upon opening the door, the clumsy Seol Songi had undoubtedly left a mark, a telltale sign of a hidden secret. Instinctively, I knew that something significant awaited discovery. As my eyes scanned the room, they fell upon a scroll whose contents were initially unknown to me. However, a realization soon dawned upon me: a plot was in motion. They were planning to frame the Great Master by implicating him in the disappearance of crucial land documents. If exposed, the Great Master would fall into an abyss with no hope of return. Contemplating my next move, I questioned, okay, then. What should I do with this? The answer lay in a strategic decision: keeping the incriminating evidence in the young master's room. He would be wrongfully accused of embezzling the family's fortune, and it was clear that Chang Sammi was aiming for just that. Despite the young master causing me shame and agonizing pain, I couldn't overlook the fact that he had never broken his promise to provide for the children's food since that day. Initially skeptical of his sincerity, I believed he was merely trying to save face. However, my observations over time revealed a different truth. Regardless of weather conditions, be it rain or snow, the young master continued to place money in the designated hole, honoring his commitment to the welfare of his servants. It became evident that, despite his flaws, he was genuinely worthy of being the young master of such a prestigious family. Despite the young master's righteousness, it appeared that Chang Sanmi's petty tricks persisted. It irked me to think that I could be deceived by someone like Seol Songi. The prospect of the young master disappearing under these circumstances raised concerns about my own damaged dignity, a dignity that had already suffered significantly due to his actions. The brewing war between Chang Sanmi and the young master, a conflict I had been eagerly anticipating, now seemed at risk of ending before it even began. The idea of standing idly by while this happened was inconceivable to me. Reflecting on the essence of an interesting fight, I mused, for a fight to be interesting, both sides need to be evenly matched. If one side is too strong, the fight will be over before it even starts. And if one side is too weak, the fight won't be worth watching. In either case, there's no point in watching the fight. So what's the point of living if you can't enjoy a good fight? In my mind, it was about preserving my happiness. It wasn't because I was impressed by the young master's kindness, nor did I hold deep respect for his outstanding abilities and righteousness. It certainly had nothing to do with his generosity towards hungry children. At least, that's what I told myself, unwilling to admit the conflicting emotions stirring within me. A few days later, at the Xie family residence, Kamseuk Seol House's master, Seol Sadak, erupted with anger. "Seolsu Beom, you bastard! Do you know why you are called here?" Seolsu Beom replied calmly, "No, I don't know." Observing the gathered members from Chang Sanmi and Seol Sanghui early in the morning, he couldn't help but murmur to himself, "What are they up to this time?" Seol Sadak addressed Seolsu Beom, accusing him, "You are trying to deny it. The land deed I recently signed is gone. You don't know where it is?" Seolsu Beom maintained his composure, answering, "No, I don't know." Seol Sadak's frustration escalated as he shouted, "So are you saying that the land deed grew legs and ran away on its own? Don't just sit there, speak up. Do you don't know anything?" The tension in the room hung heavy as the accusations unfolded, leaving Seolsu Beom at the center of a perplexing situation. Amidst the accusations, Chang Sanmi interjected, expressing concern about the young master's recent visits to the slums. She claimed to worry over the possibility of him picking up bad habits from the local children. A faint smile played on Chang Sanmi's lips as she added, "I'm just worried." Seolsu Beom, catching on to the underlying scheme, muttered to himself, "So this time, you are trying to frame me as a thief?" Sol Sanghui chimed in, recalling seeing something resembling a scroll with the young master. Seolsu Beom, feeling the weight of unjust accusations, thought about the hard work he had put in to keep his promise to his grandmother. Frustrated, he decided to play along, saying, "The second daughter of the Seol family is helping out the servants. This is unheard of. You have a good heart." Sol Sanghui, taken aback, couldn't hide her surprise. Seolsu Beom, not letting up, added, "You are lying without batting an eye. I saw you belittling the lower-class people like they were insects." The revelation seemed to startle even the head of the family, Seol Sadak, who ordered an immediate search of the young master's room. A servant soon emerged, holding a scroll and declaring, "Master, I found the scroll." It was in the young master's closet, just as the young lady said. Seol Sadak examined the scroll, convinced it was the missing land deed, only to discover it was graffiti. Enraged, he exclaimed, "What the heck is this? This is not a land deed, it's graffiti." Seolsu Beom suddenly understood, hearing the term, graffiti. He realized it was the first form of the vision technique of the six-word trials, a skill possessed by Jawun-yep. Seolsu Beom defended, "That kid did it. I hid it in the closet because I was ashamed of my drawing skills." As the truth unfolded, he noticed Jawun-yep sitting on a tree in front of the house, revealing the source of the mysterious scroll. As Seolsu Beom spotted Jawun-yep, he couldn't help but be shocked. How did he know that I was here right away? He is a scary person. Seolsu Beom then addressed his father, then, "Father, may I go now?" Seol Sadak, still processing the unexpected turn of events, replied, "Oh, of course. You may go back." As he was released, Sol Sanghui attempted to interject, but Chang Sanmi stopped her, saying, "Sol Sanghui, stop it now." With that, the incident of the land deed theft came to an end. The crucial evidence, the land deed, remained in Jawun-yep's hands. The unexpected culprit, a young servant who ran errands, had successfully eluded suspicion. Jawun-yep, near the tree, retrieved a pouch of money, contemplating his circumstances. "How long are you going to let yourself be punished around like this? At least you should know how to protect yourself if you're going to let this bastard take advantage of you every time." As he pondered, a voice emerged from behind him, "So, it was you after all." Turning around, Jawun-yep found a girl standing there, Seol family's young lady, Sol Soyon. She apologized for surprising him and explained, "I just thought, you would be stealing by now. I heard from my brother that you were providing food to the hungry children." Jawun-yep, hiding the pouch behind his back, replied, "What is the young lady doing at this hour of the morning?" Sol Soyon offered insight, saying, "I just thought I would find out for myself. You've become quite an interesting person, haven't you?" The encounter marked a curious moment between the two, hinting at a connection beyond the surface. Jawun-yep couldn't help but murmur to himself, "I see. Even the young lady is quite perceptive." Sol Soyon acknowledged, "Even though stealing is not the right way to do things, I think you can be proud of yourself for what you did. It's good to know that there are still people in this world who know the meaning of righteousness." Jawun-yep, attempting to deflect the praise, replied with a hint of defensiveness, "No. It's not like that. I just have a bad habit of stealing. Even when I helped the young master this time, I was just angry because I was beaten by the youngest daughter. Anyway, I'm not as good of a child as you think I am." Despite his sharp replies, Sol Soyon gave him a sweet look and expressed gratitude, saying, "But I still want to thank you. I'm so glad that you, the clever one, helped my brother." Jawun-yeop couldn't help but compare this kindness to the hypothetical response of the young master, speculating, if it was the young master, he would have said that I'm not clever but a cunning bastard. Observing Seol Soyon's gentle nature, Jawun-yeop pondered on the complexities of the family dynamics. He considered whether she held back due to the reputation of being the best in the world, contrasting it with his perspective as a servant with nothing to lose. Before further contemplation, a servant rushed towards Seosu Beom, exclaiming, "Why young master, why young master?" The shocking news reached Seosu Beom that his grandmother had suddenly passed away. Rushing to her side, he grabbed her hand, overcome with grief. His grandmother's voice echoed in his mind, urging him to protect the Xie family as the eldest son, the final wish she held. Remembering the promise he made to his grandmother, Seosu Beom apologized tearfully, "I apologize, grandmother." The unexpected turn of events left the family in a state of mourning and reflection. The funeral of the old lady was conducted in a gloomy atmosphere, with Seol Sadik urging everyone to send her off quietly. Jawun-yeop observed the mourning from a distance, unable to intervene as he had during the land deed document incident. Lady Soo Yun's grief and the young master's suffering were difficult for him to witness. Looking at Seol Sadak, Jawun-yeop felt a sense of helplessness. The Xie family now faced the looming threat of falling into Chusnami's hands, and the young master's fate seemed uncertain. However, Chusnami surprisingly refrained from taking immediate action, as if waiting for the right time. As a month passed since the old lady's death, the seasons changed, and the young master found himself lost in thoughts. Jawun-yeop could vaguely guess the nature of those thoughts, prompting him to make certain preparations. Outside the Kamseuk Seol House, the young master approached the tree and placed the pouch as usual. Seosu Beom sneered, "This must be the last destination." The tension in the air hinted at the unfolding of significant events, leaving both Jawun-yeop and the young master facing an uncertain future. As Seosu Beom walked away, a voice called out from behind, "Just as I expected, are you leaving again?" Turning around, he saw Jawun-yeop sitting on a tree. "Oh. It's you again," Seosu Beom remarked. Jawun-yeop, seemingly aware of the young master's significant decision, commented, If the young master has made such a big decision, he'll need a considerable amount of money to make that decision." He then handed a scroll to Seosu Beom, saying, "Take this with ya." Surprised, Seosu Beom asked, "So you were waiting, as if you knew I was leaving?" Jawun-yeop replied, "I waited for you on this chilly night." Expressing confusion, he questioned the young master's decision to leave the Xie family on his own. Jawun-yeop wondered why Seosu Beom had hidden his exceptional abilities until now and encouraged him to showcase the true qualities of the eldest son of an orthodox noble sect, just as he had done against Jawun-yeop himself. Seosu Beom explained, "I know that it was the wish of the old granny. She didn't want her son and grandson fighting, with the new daughter-in-law, causing the downfall of her former son. She wouldn't have wanted such disastrous results. However, now that grandmother has passed away, there's no reason to adhere to that anymore." He clarified that he would come back, acknowledging the deep-rooted forces targeting them in the martial arts world. Anticipating Chang Sanmi's control over the Xie family and the potential sidelining of Seosu Beom, he expressed his determination to become even stronger and handle the challenges that awaited him. Seosu Beom concluded, "Indeed, I understand your words well." The exchange highlighted the complexities of family dynamics, personal responsibility, and the inevitable clashes within the martial arts world. Jawun-yeop continued, "It seems even the young master finds it difficult to become stronger within the current Xie family." Perplexed, Seosu Beom asked, "What are you trying to say?" Jawun-yeop explained, the arrogance and tediousness of the orthodox sects. For example, the best martial arts technique in Gansu, Baikak swordsmanship. He demonstrated the fifth sword from the Baikak swordsmanship, known as the two-sword style. Jawun-yeop explained that the technique combined offense and defense with the sword. However, the Xie family refused to adopt certain postures, deeming them unimpressive and not fitting for the orthodox sect style, which left vulnerabilities. He urged Seosu Beom to go beyond the limitations of their family, encouraging him to explore and learn more outside their current confines. The suggestion implied a need for growth and adaptation beyond the constraints of tradition and orthodoxy. Seosu Beom gritted his teeth, grabbed his sword, and said, I admit your insight, but surely you are not trying to insult our Xie family in front of me, right? Jawun-yeop quickly responded, of course not. I also grew up while eating and living in the Xie family. It just seems that the power of the unorthodox faction is stronger than that of the orthodox. I came to bid farewell to the young master, who is leaving on a long journey because I was worried. Seolsu Beom, accepting the scroll, stated, fine, whether you become orthodox or unorthodox, just be as you've always been, please. If you steal or do anything wrong, I will be the one punishing you. With a serious tone, he added, that's one last thing I wanna ask. Jawun-yeop inquired, what is it? Seolsu Beom said, if Soon is in trouble. Just once. Just once, as I did for you, please help my sister. He advised Jawun-yeop to continue showing interest in Soon, despite the latter's denial. Jawun-yeop frowned at the mention of interest in Soon, protesting, what are you talking about? When did I ever show interest in Lady Soon? Seolsu Beom smiled and said, kid, getting worked up about the word interest. Are you concerned about Soon? Unfazed, Seolsu Beom returned the scroll, saying, this is unnecessary. Do as you please with it. I hope that your mischievousness makes the world more entertaining. With those words, he walked away, leaving Jawun-yeop with a mix of feelings about the departure and the responsibility entrusted to him. Young master left with those final words. It felt like the last conversation between brothers, which I realized later. I guess this should be enough. Everyone is waiting, so I shouldn't be late. As time passed quickly, before we knew it, spring had come. As spring approached, the days grew warmer. It's been less than half a year since the young master left, but I've grown like a bamboo shoot in that time. Thanks to that, I managed to handle more tasks, traveling around here and there, ensuring the well-being of the people the young master had left behind. Thankfully, Soon is doing just fine, with no big issues to worry about. Unlike the young master, she has no reason to clash with Chang Sanmi. The young master probably saw this coming and had faith in Lady Soon's cleverness before he took off by himself. Yes, he even left behind the last insurance, me. The young master's ability to influence people with just a few words shows he's way more powerful than I am, doesn't it? Someone from the Yul family is coming? What's happening? Well, I'm back. The lady beside him said, oh, as expected, it's Jawun-yeop. You have skillfully chosen only the prettiest ones. Jawun-yeop asked, is something else going on? The lady answered, the Yul family is sending someone, and it seems they are planning a lengthy stay. Ensure we have ample food prepared. Jawun-yeop replied, ah. I guess, since it's the main family Kamseuk Seol, they are mindful of their dignity in various ways. He murmured, but it's strange, that the Yul family is known for receiving generous treatment from the Kamseuk Seol family. The lady said, not just any food, but all that's fitting for a feast table. With such gatherings, it seems like there is a celebration happening. Amidst the quaint village, an unexpected air of festivity enveloped the usually quiet surroundings. Whispers of a celebration echoed through the narrow streets, and curious faces peered out from behind weathered curtains. Yet, the villagers couldn't recall any recent joyous occasion that warranted such revelry. In the heart of this mystery, a man's brow furrowed in confusion. "What's this?" he muttered. Chang Sanmi, a figure with an air of importance, gently placed the card on the table, imploring, "Please accept it." The card held secrets, a treasure for the recipient. It spoke of the efforts of the Yayul family's young master in engaging with Lady Cyon. The time had come for the Kamseuk Seol family to step forward, to lead and care for many. As the family head was occupied, and the young master vanished without a word, the responsibility fell upon Syon, the eldest daughter, to manage significant external affairs. The weight of duty pressed upon Syon, and she found herself unable to voice any objections against Chang Sanmi's plea. A web of intrigue and responsibility unfolded, setting the stage for a tale of familial duty, unexpected engagements, and the challenges that awaited Syon in the unfolding chapters of her life. Syon continued her daily routine, navigating the intricate threads of responsibility that now intertwined with her existence. In the young master's absence, forces sought not only to control the Kamseuk family but also to exploit Syon as a pawn in their intricate game. As a loyal servant of the Kamseuk Seol family, there were limits to the information Syon could gather. The whispers of treachery and betrayal loomed, leaving her with a sense of vulnerability. If she ventured beyond the confines of the family, the unknown awaited her, and the thought weighed heavily on her shoulders. Meanwhile, amid these clandestine maneuvers, a frustrated voice broke through the tranquility of the surroundings. "Arg! This damn white crane sportsmanship is not what I wanted to learn," grumbled Jawun-yeop, who was grappling with his frustrations. However, before he could dwell on his discontent for long, a pair of figures approached from behind. Seol Sangael and Seol Sangi, siblings of the Kamseok family, confronted Jawun-yeop. A sneer adorned Jawun-yeop's face as he faced the unexpected encounter. "Ugh! Why are you here?" Seol Sangael, with an air of authority, demanded an explanation for Jawun-yeop's actions. The tension in the air thickened as accusations of secretive martial arts observations and aspirations were hurled. "You lowly servant, you want to learn martial arts like me?" scoffed Seol Sangael, the second son of the Kamseok family. Without hesitation, Seol Sangael launched a punch towards Jawun-yeop. "How about this? I'll personally teach you how to use this word." The stage was set for a confrontation, and the unfolding drama promised a tale of hidden ambitions, familial dynamics, and the clash between social classes. Amidst the shadows of investigation, a clandestine operation unfolded within the Kamseok Seol family. Under Chang Sammi's orders, Seol Sangi and Seol Sangael took it upon themselves to scrutinize the family servants. Amid this covert mission, an unexpected encounter with Jawun-yeop ensued. "Get up," Seol Sangi whispered, and Seol Sangael, with a wooden stick in hand, issued a challenge to Jawun-yeop. "From now on, I'll swing this wooden stick, so try to defend yourself. Why are you so hesitant? Don't you want to do it? No matter what, this brat has no sense of respect." With these words, Seol Sangael lunged towards Jawun-yeop, setting the stage for an impromptu confrontation. However, Jawun-yeop, underestimated by his opponents, swiftly dodged Seol Sangael's attack, sending him crashing into the wall. "Arg! Appa!" cried Seol Sangael's sister, Seol Sangi. Undeterred, she seized Jawun-yeop from behind, urging her brother to retaliate. Seol Sangael, fueled by anger and wounded pride, rose with determination. "How dare you evade my strike so brazenly? This left a mark on my precious face." With a fiery resolve, he delivered a punishing punch to Jawun-yeop's stomach, condemning him as a damn brat who took advantage of their hospitality. Amid the struggle, Jawun-yeop grappled with his predicament, lamenting his decision to escalate the situation. He resigned himself to enduring the blows until Seol Sangael tired, reflecting on the complexities of his position as a lowly servant entangled in the intricacies of the Kamseuk Seol family dynamics. The echoes of regret mingled with the uncertainty of his future, creating a palpable tension in the air. In the quiet aftermath of the clash, Jawun-yeop found himself lost in contemplation. The desire to reunite with the young master, showcasing newfound martial prowess, lingered in his thoughts like an elusive dream. Yet, the reality was starkly different. A lowly servant who had swung a mere wooden stick resigned to the blows inflicted upon him due to his societal status. The distant fantasy of acquiring martial skills seemed beyond reach, a futile endeavor as he envisioned perishing from a single blow as the young master aged. The idea of standing defiantly in the presence of the young master appeared absurd, a scenario where neither Seol nor anyone else could protect anything precious. The vision of crawling in the dirt, unable to distinguish heaven from earth, haunted Jawun-yeop's thoughts, leaving him to wonder about the young master's reaction upon witnessing his pathetic state in the future. Frustration and self-loathing welled within him as he reflected on the unchanging nature of his circumstances. Even the weak punches he endured paled in comparison to the young master's strength, and the situation sickened him to the core. Amidst this internal turmoil, a figure bursts in from the door, disrupting the oppressive atmosphere. It was Seol, unexpectedly stepping in to intervene. Jawun-yeop, struggling to find words, could only manage a strained, "Lady Seol." Embarrassment gripped him as he realized the irony. The person he should be protecting was now the one protecting him. In his mind, he vowed to repay the favor to Lady Seol in the future. But the abrupt interruption didn't end there. Jawun-yeop woke to a voice, realizing he had been speaking in his sleep. An old man stood before him, a mix of concern and curiosity etched on his face. As Jawun-yeop tried to make sense of the situation, the old man's words revealed that a whole day had passed since the incident, leaving him with a sense of disorientation and a lingering ache from the beating he endured. As Jawun-yeop slowly regained consciousness, memories of the previous day unfolded in his mind. Seol had attended to his injuries, explaining the severity of his rib injuries and the potential complications if left untreated. With her unique powers, she alleviated his pain, even apologizing on behalf of Seol Sangael for the inflicted wounds. "You'll start feeling better soon. I've managed your blood pressure to alleviate the pain. Rest now," she instructed. Reflecting on the events, Jawun-yeop realized that Seol had knocked him out to ease his suffering. The old man, present in the room, teased him about the eldest lady's marriage, suggesting that his scuffle with Seol Sangael was a manifestation of his emotions. Jawun-yeop, however, dismissed the idea, refusing to acknowledge any connection between his actions and the news of Seol's impending marriage. In response to the old man's probing, Jawun-yeop questioned the sudden mention of the eldest lady's departure and the old man's connection to the Kamseuk Seol family. As he pieced together the puzzle, he speculated about the old man's ties to the family, suggesting that Seol had sent him due to his strong bonds with the Seol family and his reputation as a reliable individual. The old man, seemingly puzzled, struggled to comprehend Jawun-yeop's questions. The conversation took a turn, delving into the old man's past and his relationship with the deceased lady of the family. Yet, the old man remained elusive, unable to grasp the full extent of Jawun-yeop's inquiries. The room buzzed with unspoken connections and unresolved questions, leaving the air thick with tension and mystery. In the quiet confines of the room, Jawun-yeop shared the intricate details of the events unfolding within the Kamseuk Seol family with Grandpa Huang. He laid bare the complexities of the land document dispute between Chang Sammi and the young master, the mysterious needs of Seol Sang-il and Seol Sang-hi under family observation, and the sudden news of Seoyo's impending marriage. Suspicion lingered around Chang Sanmi, and Jawun-yeop couldn't shake the feeling that there was something murky about the rushed union. Expressing his genuine concern, Jawun-yeop questioned Chang Sanmi's true motives, wondering aloud if a lifetime of deception lay behind the facade. Grandpa Huang, in response, playfully scolded him for revealing his true feelings and teased him as the evil bastard they treated with affection. With a hint of laughter, Jawun-yeop reassured the old man that he had no intention of making fun of him. However, the pain from his damaged ribs made speaking uncomfortable, prompting a moment of shared humor between the two. As the conversation unfolded, Grandpa Huang shared his wisdom about the breathing technique, explaining how Seoyo's intervention had prevented blood clots and allowed Jawun-yeop to speak. The old man, having learned the technique during his days as a wanderer, offered to teach Jawun-yeop the art of controlled breathing. Curiosity sparked within Jawun-yeop as he questioned Grandpa Huang about his martial arts background. The old man hinted at a mysterious encounter with a mountain-dwelling master who gifted him a book. Intrigued, Jawun-yeop considered the opportunity to delve into martial arts knowledge and nodded in agreement, realizing that this might be his chance to explore a new path and heal both physically and mentally. In the hushed atmosphere of the room, Jawun-yeop couldn't help but sneer at the idea of a peculiar old man imparting knowledge of a mysterious breathing technique. He voiced his skepticism, questioning the identity of the enigmatic figure behind the technique. The old man, unfazed by the skepticism, simply urged Jawun-yeop to rest. Curiosity lingering, Jawun-yeop inquired about the old man's departure, asking where he was headed. The old man, on his way out, explained that he intended to inform Jong-un about Jawun-yeop staying for a while. He added, "Based on our conversation, I've come to learn something about you. I'm so glad that the young master has acknowledged you." As the old man left the room, Jawun-yeop, left alone with his thoughts, mused to himself. "Yes, I'm glad too. It meant a lot to me. There is heaven and earth, and there are people in them." Lost in contemplation, he pondered the unconventional philosophies presented in the book the old man had shared. The book's narrative delved into the mystical connection between people and the energy of heaven and earth. It spoke of aligning with this energy to gain control over all things. Jawun-yeop, however, couldn't fully grasp such mystical concepts, questioning the relevance of these teachings to his existence. He acknowledged the strange sayings but found solace in the realization that the old man had gone through a similar struggle. The story in the book extends to the margins, revealing the author's journey and struggles. In a profound moment, Jawun-yeop found a sentence that resonated deeply with him. "I was born too weak, so I gave up on everything to pursue strength." This revelation struck a chord within him, echoing his struggles and the relentless pursuit of strength that had defined his life. The connection between past and present, between the words on the pages and the unspoken battles within, created a poignant backdrop to Jawun-yeop's journey. In the quiet solitude of the room, Jawun-yeop immersed himself in the ancient teachings of the book. The pages revealed the most fundamental aspect of the breathing technique, a key to unlocking unparalleled strength. The promise within those lines echoed the potential of those who sought strength, suggesting that with continuous training, one could achieve feats as formidable as uprooting mountains. Engrossed in his pursuit, Jawun-yeop dedicated himself to mastering the breathing techniques outlined in the book. The challenges were numerous, with each technique demanding intense focus and discipline. He counted the techniques as he progressed, each one pushing him to the limits of his endurance. Frustration welled up as the difficulty of the eighth breathing technique became apparent. However, as if a revelation, he suddenly realized that the pain that had lingered in his body had completely dissipated. Astonished by the transformative power of the breathing exercises, he marveled at the mysterious elder who had penned the extraordinary book. Uncertain of the elder's identity, Jawun-yeop questioned the ease with which he had seemingly conquered the pain. Yet, undeterred, he affirmed his determination. "Yeah, it really can't be this easy, can it? Hong, just you watch. I'll master everything this book has to offer." In a moment of pause, his eyes inadvertently opened, and to his surprise, he spotted Seoyoon. The unexpected presence added a new layer to the unfolding narrative, leaving the air charged with a sense of anticipation for what lay ahead in Jawun-yeop's journey of self-discovery and martial enlightenment. As he lay there, his eyes incidentally opened, and he spotted Soo-yeon. The two of them then went inside and engaged in a conversation. Jawun-yeop expressed, "Miss Soo-yeon, to think you'd come to such a shabby place over a misunderstanding." Soo-yeon replied, "I came to check on your health. How are you feeling?" "Sorry, it's my siblings' fault, and I apologize on their behalf." Jawun-yeop also apologized, "Sorry, it's my siblings' fault, and I apologize on their behalf." Soo-yeon reassured him, "No need. You treated me so the pain wouldn't worsen. But still, I was worried you were more hurt than you are." Jawun-yeop responded, "Yes, I'm fine now. As long as I don't get scolded again for letting the lady into such a shabby room." Soo-yeon stood up and said, "Hee, I made you worry. I'll leave some medicine, make sure to take it. Oh, until next time. Thank Grandpa Huang for me." Jawun-yeop nodded, "Yes, Miss Soo-yeon." As the two departed, Jawun-yeop took the book again and contemplated, "I thought it was just a punch I could take, but for Miss Soo-yeon to worry like this. I need to become stronger. 10 breathings, 12 breathing, 20 breathing techniques. Let the numbers fade, oneself, and infuse each breath with sincerity and heart." After several hours, his eyes opened. Suddenly, at that moment, Grandpa Huang arrived and asked, "What are you doing this late at night, still not lying down?" Jawun-yeop sneered, "Grandpa." A sudden realization hit him as he looked through the window, "Huh? Is it night already? I thought it was morning." Then he asked, How long have you been away, Grandpa?" Grandpa Huang replied, "You're still a bit dazed, huh? It's been more than half a day. Can't you see outside?" Jawun-yeop thought, "Goodness. I thought it was only about half an hour of breathing." Grandpa Huang asked, "But hey, are you sure you should be up like this? Shouldn't your coccyx be aching?" Jawun-yeop frowned, What?" He felt different and thought, "Now, I don't even feel a hint of discomfort in my coccyx. I feel energy coursing through my body." Grandpa Huang remarked, "As long as you can move, that's a relief." "I have a story to share, so come and sit here," he continued. Jawun-yeop settled in and inquired, "By the way, where did you go?" Grandpa Huang replied, "I went to organize my things and remembered a story Noma once shared with me. Before you were born, Yeep, 2 families were vying for dominance over Honam Castle. One was the Meteor Sword Gate, founded by an outstanding figure named Don Mok-jun. The other, White Dragon Fortress, was smaller and less known. However, in their conflict, it wasn't the Meteor Sword Gate but the White Dragon Fortress, with its unconventional martial arts, that unexpectedly emerged victorious. Naturally, the Baekdo alliance, which had predicted the victory of the Meteor Sword Gate, was just as surprised and observed the clash between the two families. Meteor Sword Gate ceased the battle and retreated to their faction. After that, the two families seemed to absorb each other and vanished from the world. But recently, the successor of White Dragon Fortress has revealed itself. Jawun-yeop contemplated, is that the Yaels? If so, the Chusami should be in alliance with them. Grandpa Huang continued, "I did some digging, but the little information about the young lady's husband is oddly scarce. However, I remember. Noma used to say it like a habit. She knows too much. So, I've been observing and keeping an eye on the first prince and the young lady. That's all I know. I'll thoroughly investigate the potential dangers in the young lady's marriage from tomorrow onwards. Perhaps then, I'll uncover more about the Yael's family. Jawun-yeop asked, what about that bundle? Where did you get it? Grandpa Huang told him, this. It's the clothes Noma made for me in his younger days. I kept it because I couldn't bear to wear or touch it. But since Noma left only this for me, I had to bring it. Jawun-yeop said, Grandpa, I understand your feelings, but isn't this too much for you? Grandpa Huang replied, no. An old man like me needs to figure things out before you do. Jawun-yeop said, just watch out so you don't end up in any mess. Grandpa Huang replied, I might not be as smart as you, but I'm an old man who has been through it all. Besides, while I'm not around, you have to protect the young lady. Then, Grandpa Huang left the Kamseuk Seol early that morning. Jawun-yeop thought, Noma must have been a special person to Grandpa. But now, with Noma and Grandpa both gone, only Miss Su-yeon remains. I wondered if I had burdened the old man with my troubles, but I found myself in a similar position. Instead of saving Miss, I found myself in a situation where I was saved. I need to become stronger. Why should I become stronger? Is it for vengeance, for justice like Grandpa Huang, or to protect loved ones like Grandpa Huang? Neither. I just want to live a life without regrets. Having grown up an orphan, serving in the homes of others, I yearn to blaze my trail. As a being transcendent of ordinary limits, who can overcome all of this? To do so, the path of evil and magic is much more suitable than the boring path of righteousness. This is why I chose the path of magic, Grandpa Huang. Miss Su-yeon, I've realized that I can't protect you now. Still, you're smart and will get through tough times by yourself as you walk your path. I too must seek my own. Grandpa Huang, I don't completely understand your feelings. But watching him leave the house like he was chasing after Noma, whom he had cherished his whole life, his choice is different from what I desire. Just as he was immersed in deep thought, someone called him from behind, is Yeep inside? He went outside and recognized the figure, Uncle Jong-woon. Jong-woon said, considering how much you like to wander, I was worried you might have met your end since you've been missing in action. Jawun-yeop's eyes widened as he saw the dumpling and said, Ahaha. I feel a bit unwell. Ju Wang observed, not working and staying in the room all day has made your face look pale. Oh, by the way, if Grandpa Huang doesn't come back after a few days, he said you can take those clothes. Do you understand what he means? As he heard the statement, his expression changed suddenly, thinking, this is a big problem. Grandpa must have encountered some trouble. Then he asked, did Grandfather Huang say that? Ju Wang replied, yes, he did. Suddenly, Madam sent him on some errand, and he went quite far. Lately, Grandfather seems to be burdened with a lot on his mind. Jawun-yeop thought, no doubt about it. Grandfather was caught red-handed. Someone who had been deceiving Chang Sanmi for decades was discovered so quickly. Yeah. Seol Sangael and Seol Songi didn't act suspiciously for no reason. Chang Sammi is trying to get rid of all the remnants of the Kamseuk Seol family before Su-yeon's marriage. With the young master gone, she can now easily get rid of Grandfather Huang. It's only a matter of time before I, who spent time with Grandfather Huang recently, am suspected. I need to act quickly. Later, Jawun-yeop took out the bundle and opened it, pondering, Grandfather. I will never forget this. I'll make sure to avenge you, Grandfather. Young master, you asked me to help Lady Su-yeon once, just once. Perhaps now is the time that you spoke of. The situation isn't favorable, and I can only offer a small help. But I'll make sure that nothing will happen to her. On the other hand, Su-yeon was sitting in her room, thinking, Grandfather Huang hasn't been seen for a few days. It feels like something is about to happen. At that moment, her servant arrived and said, "My lady, I've got something to tell you briefly." She informed Su-yun that, "Jawun-yeop gave me this, saying that it belonged to you." Su-yun said, "Yes, thank you. I know you must be busy, so go quickly." As the servant departed, Su-yun hurriedly opened the bundle and thought, "This is the land deed of my father, that Seolsu Beom Oraboni almost took the blame for." As she opened the scroll, her eyes widened. What is this book? A diary? It was written, "Lady Su-yun, I apologize for only being able to help you indirectly. By the time you read this diary, I would have already left the Kamseuk Seol family. The mysterious person whom the young lady is getting married to is a dangerous individual hiding their true identity. Even though the young master, Grandfather Huang, and I are not here, I'm sure you can handle it wisely, my lady. Please escape from the Kamseuk Seol family to a different place." As Jawun-yeop reached a different place, the other kids around pondered, "Who is this? I've never seen him before." Jawun-yeop put his hand in the bag and took out a couple of golden coins, which he had given to the other workers who had worked with him in the family. With that, he left the place, taking a sigh of relief. "Phew. With this, I have settled all the debts in my heart. I no longer have any lingering attachments to this Kamseuk Seol family. Even though I lived there for over 10 years. I am different from all of you. I don't have any intention or thoughts of being tied down. From now on, I will only focus on what I have decided to do." Young Master, Lady Su-yun. Jawun-yeop's story begins now. Meanwhile, Chang Sanmi said, "Mr. Huang finally died without revealing anything. I see. Understood. Now that I know his identity, I'll take it from here. Deal with the body. Now, no one can become an obstacle in completing the marriage. I never expected that an old man with such a ridiculous story would remain in the castle. It was a good decision to have Sangael and Songi keep an eye on him." With this, Chang Sanmi, the lady of the Kamseuk Seol family. We have eliminated everything that was bothersome in the Kamseuk Seol family. Now, no one can stop us. Not only that insignificant lord but Sangael and Songi will also fulfill their roles. However, this is just the beginning. To accomplish what we need to do, there can't be a single exception. 5 days later, deep within an unknown mountain, Jawun-yeop contemplated, "It seems no one has followed me or kept tabs on my movements during these past 5 days. Perhaps I should take a break for today." With that notion, he halted his journey, settling down for the night in front of a crackling bonfire. He reflected, "I plan to spend another 10 days in this secluded spot before moving on to a more rugged mountain, where I can dedicate myself to intensive training. To master this secret technique, I must commit to at least a year, if not 2. I need a martial art that surpasses the conventional factions, one that is truly impressive and superior." As the flames flickered, his thoughts continued, "Once my training is complete, I will descend and prioritize locating Lady Su-yun. Even if it takes several years, I am determined to uncover the enemies who infiltrated the Kamseuk Seol family and exact my revenge. Once that vendetta is settled, perhaps I'll even cross paths with the young master in a formidable competition." He mused further, "However, my aspirations extend beyond revenge. What I truly desire to obtain with my own hands is not just revenge." While contemplating software intricacies, Jawun-yeop's attention shifted to the wooden stake he had brought along. Standing up, he grasped the stick and a small hand knife. "Yes, since birth, I've always been alone," he murmured to himself. "Once everything is over, I will live my life as I please, truly embracing it. Freely and proudly. I will conquer this vast world." 2 years later. On a bustling street, a man diligently swept the broom. A passing lady commended his effort, saying, "Oh man, you've been working hard since morning." The man replied, "I've just started sweeping, but it looks like you, too, went out and came back early, auntie?" The lady explained, "Can't help it, the new servant from the annex isn't doing his work." The man scoffed, "Tsk. Even though he's also a servant, he's acting all high and mighty now that his wife is in charge of the house." He was at least a little more subdued when the old master was around. The lady warned, "Don't you know what fear is? Talking like that. What if the lady or the master hears you?" The man sighed. The atmosphere was gloomy for a while after the eldest son disappeared, and then the eldest daughter disappeared too. "No wonder people say the Kamseuk Seol family is in decline," remarked the man. "Their former glory is gone, and now they're just living off the scraps of other people's attention. Who would think of us as the best family in Kamseuk anymore?" The man inquired, "It's not unusual for the eldest son or eldest daughter to get married, right?" The lady responded, "I hope that one day the eldest son will appear as a hero and rebuild the Seol family. That would be great." At that moment, a figure entered, and his hair was floating in the sky. It was none other than Seosu Beom. Many who tread the path of evil succumb to the corrupting influence of devilish nature during their martial arts training. They engage in nefarious deeds and debauchery, earning a reputation as public enemies in the Purim. Furthermore, they often succumb to their inner demons, losing control over their power. Some choose to self-destruct, while others face execution as a consequence of their malevolent choices. Surprisingly, there are martial artists who, despite embracing the path of evil, maintain an unbroken will. Within the current top 10 martial arts masters, only 2 align with the unorthodox faction. Jawi, the unorthodox hero, and his counterpart, the righteous demon, are exceptions. The remaining masters hail from the orthodox faction, yet each has ascended to the pinnacle of their skills. Their bright and noble natures are evident, even among those of the unorthodox faction. In the heart of it all lies the heavenly demon fortress, the residence of the righteous demon Gal Min Hyuk. An old man, who happened to be Gal Min Hook, sneered as he engaged in a game of the traditional board game, Baduk, internationally known as Go. Baduk is a strategic game for 2 players where the objective is to surround more territory on the board than the opponent. Players take turns placing black and white stones on the intersections of a grid, aiming to control the largest area of the board. Despite its simple rules, the game boasts deep strategy and tactics. His granddaughter, Gal Min Ran, laughed gleefully, exclaiming, "Oh my gosh, I won again, Grandpa. This makes it 3 wins in a row, right? As you promised, you have to teach me martial arts now." Gal Min Hook sighed, cautioning, "Min Ran, Grandpa is saying all this for your safety. Teaching you martial arts might be too dangerous." In response, Gal Min Ran playfully retorted, "Oh my. Are you saying that you will not keep your promise now? Grandpa, did you never even consider your promise to this granddaughter in the first place?" Gal Min Hyuk sneered, "No, Min Ran, would never break my promise to you." He contemplated, Min Ran's Go skills are improving by leaps and bounds. At this rate, I'll have no choice but to teach my granddaughter martial arts. I taught her Go in the hope that she would stay away from martial arts, but how did things turn out like this? Gal Min Hook, renowned as one of the greatest martial artists globally, is said to have been a scholar with no interest in martial arts during his childhood. However, he possessed the talent and physique to dedicate his life to Go and books. His master had to plead with him for several days and nights before he finally stepped into the martial arts world. Much like him, his family has always been a lineage of scholars with no inclination toward martial arts. However, Min Ran, the apple of her grandfather's eye, harbors a strong desire to learn martial arts. In her younger years, she used to come and rub her grandfather's shoulders whenever she saw him. Now, her focus is solely on her grandfather's martial arts skills. Just at that moment, a servant entered and respectfully informed him, "My lord, there is a young guest who wishes to challenge you. His appearance is extraordinary, so I wanted to ask for your opinion first." Gal Min-hyuk sneered with a smile, A challenger? It's been a long time. Ahem. Right. In this case, I should personally greet the challenger. However, Gal Min-ran interrupted, "Wait a minute, grandfather, I haven't finished talking yet." Ignoring her, Gal Min-hyuk departed, saying, "Ran, I'll be back soon. Let's talk later." Gal Min-ran gritted her teeth, muttering, "There you go again, slipping away." After a few minutes, Gal Min-hyuk returned along with his disciples. As he raised his head, he remarked, Is it you? The young man who came to challenge the heavenly demon fortress." Then he inquired, "What is your name?" However, Seolsu Beom revealed himself as, Musbong. "I have no surname, so I am Musbong of nothingness. I have come to challenge the Lord." His disciples frowned, exclaiming, "What? Are you seriously asking for a challenge with the Lord?" Gal Min-hyuk stood silent. Other disciples of Gal Min-hyuk retorted, "You fool! What are you talking about? Do you think you can request a challenge with the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Fortress with just that kind of introduction? You don't seem to care about your life." Seolsu Beom, however, respectfully cupped his hand and said, "I never dared to challenge the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Fortress. My sole desire is to find enlightenment within these walls, in any form it may appear." Gal Min-hyuk thought, this guy deliberately says provocative things, but on the other hand, he's also careful to be humble. He's honest but reckless, and yet he has a straightforward spirit. It's been a long time since I felt this energy. Then he asked, "Can you play back?" Seolsu Beom replied, "Yes, I can play." Gal Min-hyuk said, "Fine, I accept the challenge. However, to challenge the Heavenly Demon Fortress, you must first win a game of baduk against me. Follow me." The reception baduk match is a hurdle all challengers to the Heavenly Demon Fortress must overcome. In the past, when many sought to conquer the fortress, Gal Min-hyuk devised this preliminary test. While it may seem like a simple wager on the surface, baduk is akin to a battle of numbers on the battlefield when closely examined. To understand your opponent's moves and exploit their weaknesses, you need to engage in a battle of wits. Playing your moves well allows you to gain territory and solidify your foundation, yet baduk is also a game where you can be overwhelmed in an instant, walking the path to defeat. Without a sharp mind, winning a battle of strength is impossible. Relying solely on natural talent and charisma won't help you decipher the intricacies of the world. Gal Min-hyuk remarked, "Until now, in the martial world, only one person has ever beaten me at baduk. Even so, she only managed to win by half a house. Well then, let's begin." It was nightfall from the day. Gal Min-ran peeked through the door and inquired, "Are they still playing?" The lady servant replied, "Yes, lady. In the best of 3 games, he has won 1. Gal Min-ran sneered, "However, this game seems to be challenging for him. It's been a long time since the winner was determined. I don't think he is a normal guy. He is a genius. Setting aside his intelligence, anyone is bound to make mistakes or confusion as time goes on. But this young man is different. Moreover, the moves he has made on the board are." The game of baduk is a way to reveal the opponent's character and personality. If you are clever and quick-witted, you will play like flowing water. If you are upright and honest, you will play like a mountain. He is like a wolf, guarding his territory like iron and never letting go of an approaching enemy. How can we deal with this formidable opponent? Gal Min-hyuk said, "Playing back with you only makes me more curious. Why do you want to challenge the Heavenly Demon Fortress? If you're as talented as you say, you could join any faction. And you will be able to develop much better skills than you have now. You may be a potential beast, but you're still a cub. If you pursue your training in a balanced and harmonious way, you will naturally evolve into an unparalleled and powerful entity. Moreover, the level of your internal energy cultivation shows signs of being refined through the righteous path. This suggests that you hail from a distinguished and renowned family. Why, then, would someone of your stature? Seolsu Beom replied, I have something I want to accomplish. I've got people waiting for me without a particular reason. I've left behind someone dear to me that I couldn't take along. I've parted ways with someone who has a promising future ahead. Because I made a solemn oath with them, I must hasten my steps on the path ahead. I have only reached this point because I hurried to fulfill that intention. Gal Minhook said, when it comes to decisive matters, there is no hesitation. You are destined for greatness, and if you weren't so caught up in your thoughts, you'd achieve even more. While he thought, the tide has turned. I thought I was leading the game, but suddenly, I'm the one being outplayed. Did this happen so quickly while I was lost in contemplation? Indeed, you are a formidable opponent. Seolsu Beom accepted, it's my defeat. Gal Minhook said, you wanted to challenge me to a sparring match, did you genuinely want to compete with me? Seolsu Beom replied, I never thought about taking on Lord Gal Minhook because I didn't believe I had a shot at winning. However, I thought that if I were to spar with Lord Gal Minhook, who has been regarded as a great master for many years, would undoubtedly gain great enlightenment on my own. Gal Minhook murmured to himself, your humility is impressive. You are an admirable individual. Then he nodded, yes, that's right, he called Gal Minran, who was sneaking, Minran. Stop eavesdropping and come out for a moment. Then he introduced her, this child is my granddaughter, Gal Minran. Playing back isn't solely about winning a wager, it's also about relishing the game itself. Of course, that doesn't mean you can disregard the rules that were agreed upon. In that case, how about I spar with Ran, who has received your teachings? Though she recently embarked on her martial arts journey, Ran is already making strides in mastering the discipline. It would be a good opportunity for you to test your achievements so far. As he said that, he murmured to himself, moreover, if you are going to spar, you would have to wait for a few more days, and during that time, we could play another game of Baduk. Gal Minran retorted, hold on a moment. It hasn't been long since grandfather taught me martial arts. And you are telling me to compete against this master? You've been making excuses and neglecting my training for the past 3 days. Gal Minhook said, no, Minran, isn't that young man around your age? You should have taught me properly and then asked for it. Gal Minran replied, if I grant this request, will you teach me diligently every day starting next week? Gal Minhyuk nodded, of course, that goes without saying. Gal Minran said, all right then, I entrust him to your care until our sparring match, young master. Seolsu Beom nodded, sure, while contemplating, it seems that the grandfather was not fond of the idea of his granddaughter learning martial arts. As time passed, the day of the sparring between the two arrived. The huge crowd packed Mado Castle to its fullest capacity. What was even more astonishing than the crowd was, is that young man challenging Lord Gal Minhook without any hint of fear? He looks resolute and stubborn just by his appearance alone. Seolsu Beom thought while moving forward, it's a huge crowd. But what's even more surprising is, the strong aura they emanate. Although they're currently moving calmly like gentle waves, once the chaos erupts within the castle walls, it could escalate into a ferocious tidal wave at any moment. But Lord Gal Minhyuk is firmly blocking and containing it. It makes one realize how remarkable he is as a person. The opponent is the granddaughter of a renowned martial artist. Let's not let our guard down. Gal Minhyuk, who observed him from a distance, said, humph. That brat. He seems to be quite tense in my presence. By his side, the lady who was sitting was Gal Minhyuk's wife, So Chi-young, who asked, "Are you amused because you've offered your granddaughter in a match of baduk?" Gal Min-hyuk denied, no. I didn't mean it to that extent. So Chi-young asked, "Is it that big of a deal? Considering the young man will be sticking around for the sparring session, and you know very well that you'll be obsessing over playing another game of baduk during that time. The same goes for Minran. You've always said you wouldn't teach her martial arts due to the dangers, yet now you entrust her to spar with a stranger? Don't say such things. I'm well aware of Minran's personality." Gal Min-hyuk replied, "Just to be safe, I've conducted a thorough search on him, and I made sure his martial arts engagement was with the Heavenly Demon Fortress's sword, so don't worry too much." Gal Minran said, "Please take care of me, young master. Since I seem younger and less knowledgeable than you, may I take the initiative?" Seolsu Beom replied, "You're being too modest, my lady." "Very well, then." Gal Minran's mouth curled up, "Then, don't hold back." With that said, she charged forward. Gal Minran's mouth curled up, "Then, don't hold back." With that said, she charged forward and made her first attack. Seosu Beom blocked the attack and thought, "Indeed. Such precision in your swordsmanship. As expected, your defense is formidable." As he was contemplating, Gal Minran placed her hand on his shoulder and leapt into the air, landing on the other side. Without wasting a second, she made another attack. Seolsu Beom blocked it again and decided, this opponent is not to be taken lightly. With that thought, he moved forward and used his attack that made Gal Minran fall. That was close. She immediately jumped back using her flexibility skills. Seolsu Beom was surprised, how impressive is her adaptability. She also shows flexibility and swift decision-making in the circumstances. If I let my guard down, I'll be pierced. Meanwhile, Gal Minran was thinking, there must be a reason why grandfather had his eye on him. With that thought, she raised her sword and exclaimed, "You have excellent skills, young master. It's the first time I've had such high expectations for an opponent as a martial artist." Then she asked with cold eyes, "Will you be able to handle this sword too?" Seolsu Beom sneered, "Here it comes. Something different from before." In the next moment, Gal Minran leapt into the air and used the skill of the snow cloud sword. Seolsu Beom didn't expect, that's the snow cloud sword. Gal Minran attacked with her lightning sword. In the audience, someone laughed, "Ha ha ha, this brat Ran is skilled in using the snow cloud sword. As expected of my direct disciple. He was Myong-ji-hye, the demon of the snow mountain." Gal Min-hyuk interrupted, "What do you mean, disciple? You lost the bet and got ripped off." He looked at Gal Minran and thought, Ran has made remarkable progress in martial arts in no time. Despite Ran's flawless sword skills, that young man remains unfazed by the blade near his face. He observes every fake shift in Ran's movements. He reacts and improvises with a frightening speed. He does not recoil from the sword, and his gaze searches for flaws in his opponent. He seemed overwhelmed at first for a reason. He must have fought in many battles before. Suddenly, Seolsu Beom leaned the sword back. Gal Minran, who was approaching, was shocked, "Huh? What kind of stance is that?" Observing the scene, Myong-ji said, "Have you seen that thief? That fool dares to mimic my snow cloud sword technique without learning it." Gal Min-hyuk contemplated, there's no way he could have learned it just by observing it a few times. Where the hell did this guy come from? On the battlefield, Gal Minran said, to think that a sword technique learned merely by observation could be so refined. You have surprised me many times. She dashed and leapt into the air and told him, however, you failed to realize that. Your emulation has made your moves obvious to me. Regrettably, my skills go well beyond just this. I wonder if you will be able to block this as well. She leaned the sword in the air and charged with a powerful strike of the 7 swords of Yuma. However, Seolsu Beom blocked it somehow. The battle continued, and the two stood fearlessly. The onlookers were astonished and confused. Who will win? Sungkwak Woo and Myong Gi were amazed at Minran's skill. So Chiang said, as expected, from the granddaughter of the righteous demon. As the battle ended, Gal Minran cupped her hand and expressed her gratitude. Thank you. It was a great duel. I learned a lot. Seolsu Beom replied, I am the one who learned a lot from you, young lady. I've heard that the world is full of talented individuals, but after seeing you, I understand why. Gal Minhyuk interrupted, you both are good. It's been a long time since I've witnessed such a remarkable performance. But you should also express gratitude to the creators of the Snow Cloud Sword and the 7 Swords of Yuma, not just to Ran. Don't they deserve your respect as well? Gal Minran asked, excuse me? Are you saying that he memorized the entire 7 Swords of Yuma? He is intelligent, but that's hard to believe. Sungkwak Woo said, Ran is right. How did that whipper-snapper pick up my technique in a single look? This swordsmanship is the culmination of years of my life. This is preposterous. Gal Minhyuk replied, you saw the fight too, Elder Wu. That kid was able to replicate the movements of the Snow Cloud Sword after only seeing it a few times. If that's the case, then let's see if that's true. Did you hear him? If you haven't memorized anything, you won't be able to perform it accurately. Why don't you drop that reserved act of yours and show me what you're made of? Wouldn't honesty and openness serve you better? Seolsu Beom nodded, as you please. He grabbed his sword and displayed the technique of the 7 Swords of Yuma. Gal Minran was shocked, that's ridiculous. It's the 7 Swords of Yuma. Sungkwak Woo frowned, he merely glanced at the technique and memorized it entirely? How is that possible? What kind of monster is he? Seolsu Beom told Gal Minran, the way the blade moves with the 7 Swords of Yuma technique is so graceful. I was mesmerized by its motion and followed it with my eyes. But if that counts as theft, I vow never to use this sword technique again. Gal Minhyuk Woo shouted, Humph. How brazen of you to steal someone else's sword technique. He used the telepathy technique and transmitted, just listen and remain silent. I have been waiting for someone like you for a very long time. Then he asked, would you consider mastering the art of stealth under my guidance, serving me as your master? If you master the sword technique of the 8 great protectors of the heavenly demon fortress, it will undoubtedly benefit you. If you learn and practice the 5 mysteries of the Yuma 7 swords, you may be able to approach the path of a master. Seolsu Beom replied, I understand what you are saying. However, I do not want to take you as my master. Gal Minhyuk Woo gritted in anger, you bastard. You keep your pride until the very last, huh? Then he shouted, all right, you rascal. Well said. What was that you said about the unorthodox martial artist? I have lived a life without shame, always looking up to my master as an example. The words like magic or blades, teaching the way and causing bloodshed in the world, will be done by those masters you'll serve later, not me. They are the ones who divide the world into black and white, saying that coexistence is impossible. Do you think you stand a chance against me with a go board made up solely of one white stone? You're attempting to paint the whole world with a single color. People like you should have been stopped right from the start. With that said, he charged forward and blew a powerful attack on Seolsu Beom that made him feel bad and smashed into the wall. Gal Minran frowned upon his sudden reaction. Sungkwak Woo ran forward asking, my lord? What's gotten into you all of a sudden? Gal Minhyuk shouted, he insulted my master and spat on our heavenly demon fortress. Relying just on talent and seeing the world through a narrow lens, it's as if he's mocking us. Gal Min Ran got scared as she hadn't seen her grandfather so agitated before. Sung Guak Wu asked, "Lord, why are you so agitated by the words of a mere youngster?" Gal Min Hyuk moved forward in anger, exclaiming, "Ah, so noisy. Unryong, Pungryong. Drag this impudent bastard out and throw him into Sangam-san Mountain. Anyone who helps that guy will bring his demise." Later in the mountains, Sung Guak Wu and another disciple threw him. Sung Guak Wu walked out gritting his teeth. "Ah, what a waste. Let's go back now." A few hours later, as he opened his eyes, he coughed. Then he put his hand inside his clothes and took out a book that Sung Guak Wu gave him when he was being dragged. "Now that I have received the secret manual of the 7 swords of Yuma, I must address you, Wu Sungkwak, as master. Having personally experienced the greatness of your heavenly demon fortress, I will etch into my heart the words that the world cannot be reduced to mere black and white." Then he looked at his hands and recalled the telepathy words of Gal Min Hook, "Just listen and remain silent. I've been waiting for someone like you for a very long time. You may have many questions, but for now, just listen quietly to what I'm about to say. When this truth is revealed, more than half of the martial artists in the heavenly demon fortress will rush to kill you. Until everyone fully comprehends it, you must keep everything a secret. I'll help you get out of here safely for the time being. After that, what you do is your choice. However, you are a step too late, Master Wu Sungwak. As one who has received the salvation of the Azura realm through the transmission ahead of the Martial Alliance, my first master is from the Martial Alliance, so be satisfied with being my second master." On the other hand, on a mountain cliff, Jawun-yep was practicing his technique of orthodoxy with just a wooden stick. He looked at his stick and sneered, "I wonder why my sword trembles with instability every time I take the finishing stance. Now, with the weight of the mountain on my shoulders, my movements are far superior to those I performed in Gaju. I'm familiar only with the white crane swordsmanship, so I'm doing my best to adapt it as much as possible." Amid contemplation, his attention shifted as a white fox appeared. Is this guy again? What are you staring at? Is observing someone that intriguing to you? Pfft. You glare as if you're an expert mountain beast. Are you trying to be a great sage or something? Karararrar. He made a horrible sound that made the fox frown. The fox stared at him, and then he leapt into the air. Jawun-yep said, "All right. Come at me then." But unexpectedly, the dog stepped on him, grabbed the bundle of meat and ran away. Jawun-yep also ran behind him. "Oh, my beef jerky." Then he stopped as he saw that the fox could not move ahead. How can that white fox move so freely with such short steps? I didn't feel much power on the soles of her feet, but she moves effortlessly, with just her toes. Toes? Could it be, concentrating strength in the fingertips, not the palm, could revolutionize swordsmanship? Unbelievable. The sword moves much more naturally in the desired direction. Ha ha ha. Your teachings are better than the techniques of the Kamseuk family. Yes. The answer was at the tips of my fingers. Ha ha ha. Later in the cave, Jawun-yep sat cross-legged, thinking, "Phew. I've become accustomed to breathing now. It's significantly aiding my recovery. I'm accumulating inner energy better than I thought, but the problem is lacking martial arts techniques to use it. No matter how smoothly and accurately I swing, if all of it ends with just one sword stroke, I can't create a great martial technique. Is there a way to continue this way of the sword? If so, it would undoubtedly become an excellent sword technique. Should I take inspiration from the movements of other animals like the white fox? Is a snake swiftly navigating through the ground? It lacks the variety of movements without limbs. A rabbit quickly hopping around? That seems too bustling. Or perhaps a trout darting in various directions underwater? Things are getting more and more confusing. Is it already time for butterflies to appear? This guy. This is where I stay, so get out of here before sparks get your wings. He looked at the butterfly and tried to make it stand on the stick. But the butterfly dodged it every time. Then he concluded the butterfly movement. 1 year had passed. I persevered, refining my movements until the sword's tip glided as gracefully as a butterfly's wing. The trajectory became ingrained through repetition. The sword technique I've crafted cannot be fully unleashed with an ordinary blade. Please don't fixate on the sword's form but on the trajectory itself. Let the sword mimic the fluidity of a butterfly's motion. First stance. Second stance. Third stance. And the final fourth stance. Under the weight of that immense pressure, the tip of the wooden sword splintered. Jawun-yep glanced back at the shattered piece, pondering, have I exhausted its lifespan? It couldn't withstand the concentrated power of the final stance. I should descend and seek a new sword, a flexible one capable of accommodating these stances. Nevertheless, I find satisfaction in mastering the forms. When the time comes, the blood butterfly sword technique will be perfected. With resolve, he gathered his belongings and departed from the cave. At that moment, the wolf couple arrived, whispering, "This guy keeps lurking around us for some reason." Jawun-yep asked, "Have you found a partner in the meantime? Planning to make this cave your home, I presume?" "Well, whether you choose to make it your home or not is up to you. It seems like we'll be parting ways here. It has been 3 years since I left the Kamseuk Seol family. Soo-yun must have left the family and disappeared by now. Now, it's time to fulfill the promised revenge and conquer the world." Golden City Escort Agency. As one of the 10 representative escort agencies in Hanam, the Golden City Escort Agency was renowned for its dedication to transporting goods of any size and type. Trust and reputation were vital for an escort agency. However, one day, an unforgivable incident occurred. Without anyone noticing, an item entrusted to the agency was stolen. Someone, unknown, switched it without anyone noticing. Furthermore, attacks during transportation became more frequent. The head of the Golden City Escort Agency set out alone to reclaim their lost honor, only to be ambushed by unknown assailants. Severely injured, he succumbed to his wounds. As the Golden City Escort Agency fell, one by one, the other representative agencies followed suit. Meanwhile, a new force known as the Blue Dragon Bureau began encroaching on their territory, signaling a larger conspiracy at play. Weakened and barely holding on, the Golden City Escort Agency existed in name only. This place has also fallen into the hands of the enemy. What more do we have to lose? I can't let it remain as it is. She was Song Yeoju, the current head of the Golden City Escort Agency. If I can find an escort to accompany me on this mission. Amidst her contemplation, someone called out from behind, "Sister." It was Song Yeo-hoon, the vice head of the Golden City Escort Agency, approaching. "Stop making that face. If the head of the agency remains gloomy, it will unsettle the others." "Fine, fine. But you're early. Did you find someone?" Song Yeoju asked. "Well, I did find someone. It's just that they seem skilled but difficult to control," Song Yeo-hoon replied. Song Yeoju said, "It's okay. Who they are doesn't matter. The mere fact that we found someone is already a relief. Let's meet them." Simultaneously, she pondered, if we embark on the escort mission, there will undoubtedly be attacks. If we have an escort skilled in martial arts, it will be at least a little safer. It's worth checking. Glancing at him, she thought, Yeo-hoon said he doesn't think they're suitable for an escort job. But let's hear their story and make a judgment. That person's name was Eom Hanpil, who inquired, "So, what kind of goods are you planning to transport?" "Let me tell you in advance, I know about the situation with the Golden City Escort Agency. If you clearly explain the task, we can proceed without any issues," he added. Song Yeoju paused for a moment, then declared, "An empty carriage escort. It's a service for carriages with no goods. As you may know, we've lost valuable items and our reputation due to frequent attacks. To honor our father, who was injured while protecting the goods until the end, I, as the head of the Golden City Escort Agency, will restore our reputation. And for that..." Another voice interjected, "How effective do you think that will be?" It was Jawun-yep, accompanied by end-of-month Hanpil. He continued, "Do you believe that merely protesting like that will suffice to gather the fallen representatives of the 10 escort agencies?" Song Yeoju thought, "This person. Did they understand my intention just by hearing empty carriage escort?" Then she replied, "At the very least, they will realize how despicable the Blue Dragon Bureau is." Jawun-yep rose from his seat and remarked, "Are you naive, or just foolish? I'll leave first, so wrap up the conversation." As he departed, Song Yeoju shouted after him, "Excuse me. I appreciate your offer to help, but there's no need for you to judge our circumstances. Who on earth is this person?" Eom Hanpil urged, Now. Calm down and let's continue talking," then turned to Jawun-yep, asking, "Hey. Where are you going in the middle of our conversation?" As he walked out, he spotted a few people up in the trees and shouted, "About 8 guys? I know you're hiding, so come on down." Meanwhile, Eom Hanpil said, "Firstly, the head of the agency, for safety reasons, gathers all the skilled members of the Golden City Escort Agency in one place." With that, he stood up and began to walk away. Song Yeoju questioned, "What are you talking about?" "Oh my, it's already started." "Let's go for now," replied Eom Hanpil, urging her to follow. As they emerged, their expressions changed drastically upon witnessing Jawun-yep surrounded by multiple bandits. One of them lunged at Jawun-yep, who retaliated with a powerful strike, causing the bandit to fall. In the next moment, he swiftly took down 2 more of them. Observing the scene, Song Yeoju frowned, "Well, what's happening here?" As some of the bandits approached, Eom Hanpil declared, "They finally showed up. Kill them." With determination, he charged forward and swiftly dispatched the approaching enemies. Then he said, "We were in the middle of discussing the escort mission. If the head of the agency dies before paying the fee, it will be troublesome for me, won't it?" Song Yeoju was surprised, "Their skills are incredible." At that moment, another bandit tried to sneak in but was swiftly shot down by Jawun-yep. He lifted his shadow cap and said, "Hey, can't we wrap this up properly?" With all the enemies now defeated, Eom Hanpil asked, "Now, what should we do with them?" Jawun-yep replied, "First, let's bury the bodies in the annex to prevent the enemies from finding them." "Gukju, are all the wounded soldiers okay?" Song Yeoju expressed her gratitude, "Thanks to you. Everyone was prepared for something like this to happen someday. They acted decisively." Eom Hanpil said casually, "Ugh, what trouble in the middle of the night. Dealing with these guys who can't even withstand a single strike." Jawun-yep retorted, "Humph, what are you boasting about when you couldn't even finish off a single guy properly?" Eom Hanpil asked, "What are you talking about?" "I protected Gukju." Jawun-yep replied, "If you're a bodyguard, doing what you're supposed to do is nothing to brag about." Song Yeoju looked at them and contemplated, "Both of them are skilled experts. I don't understand why these skilled individuals applied for the 3rd-grade bodyguard position, but they could become crucial assets for the reconstruction of Gumsung territory." Then she said, "The situation seems to be somewhat under control now. If it's okay with both of you, I'd like to continue the conversation we were having earlier." Inside, when Eom Hanpil revealed his identity, Song Yeoju was shocked. No way. Are you the sword demon that everyone talks about? Eom Hanpil murmured to himself, how long has it been since I've had a drink, then nodded, indeed. Song Yeohun frowned. Eom Hanpil, the bandit ghost who defeated the northern twin ghosts and Sun Diako. Eom Hanpil corrected him, I'm not a bandit ghost, I'm a sword ghost, Master Song. Sword ghost and bandit ghost are terms commonly employed in East Asian martial arts and historical narratives, particularly prevalent in Chinese and Korean literature, folklore, and martial arts fiction. These designations do not pertain to literal apparitions or supernatural beings, rather, they symbolize highly proficient and often enigmatic martial artists or swordsmen. A sword ghost typically embodies a masterful swordsman of extraordinary skill, often portrayed as an elusive or mysterious figure. On the other hand, bandit ghost denotes a martial artist who may be associated with banditry or rogue activities. This character possesses great skill but may not adhere strictly to conventional martial ethics. In a dialogue between Song Yeohun and Eom Hanpil, Song Yeohun inquired, but where did the rest of your party go? Eom Hanpil responded, the young man resembling a butterfly? He mentioned he'd scout around and return. He's quite meticulous in his ways. Having only recently acquainted with him, I can't discern if it's his inherent nature. Later, Song Yeoju interjected, oh. So, he isn't a long-standing companion? Eom Hanpil succinctly replied, in essence, no. I met him about 2 months ago, Eom Hanpil recounted. They mentioned a shady gambling den in the area, so I thought I might stumble upon something interesting. Instead, I ended up emptying my own pockets. That sneaky guy, he muttered under his breath. Now, a lad who looks barely of age is raking in profits from illegal gambling. And he had a sword too. Surely knows his way around martial arts. It's about time I checked him out. Just then, Jawun-yep halted and sneered, hey, you beggar-like bastard. Is skulking around and pilfering other people's earnings your occupation? Trying to intimidate me with that rusty knife of yours? Eom Hanpil seized his sword and retorted, you little punk. Ever heard the name Eom Hanpil? While I do have some business with you, we'll have to settle this matter first. Come with me, I'll show you how vast the world truly is. Inwardly, he mused, indeed, this guy must have been drawn here by that rumor too. He might prove useful if I handle this situation with finesse. After relocating to a secluded spot, Eom Hanpil remarked, this seems like a suitable spot. No prying eyes around. Jawun-yep shot back, yeah, I'm the only one who'll witness the humiliating sight of you being thrown to the ground. Eom Hanpil retorted, very well, let's see how long you can keep up this charade. Then he inquired, what's your name? Jawun-yep hesitated momentarily before replying, I don't possess a name worthy of mention. But before we engage in combat, I'm curious about something. How do your skills compare to the top martial artists in the realm? You display considerable prowess, yet your reputation remains unknown to me. Eom Hanpil sneered dismissively. This fellow? With a sudden charge, he declared, you'll discover my capabilities when our swords clash. Jawun-yep effortlessly evaded his initial strike, prompting a hint of surprise from Eom Hanpil. Confronting my blade head-on? It appears you possess some measure of skill after all. As they exchanged blows, the advantage shifted intermittently between Jawun-yep and Eom Hanpil. However, after a decisive moment, Eom Hanpil faltered, stepping back. Regaining his composure, he stood upright and remarked, I understand now. Merely by observing your swordsmanship earlier, I recognize your strength. Thanks to our encounter, I've also discovered how much stronger I've become. Eom Hanpil smirked in acknowledgement. That maneuver just now. Jawun-yeop interjected, you intentionally widened your swing, making it easier for me to evade, didn't you? You strategically allowed moments for dialogue while assessing my actions. Despite your outward display of agitation, you approached this duel with careful consideration. Understanding your opponent's intentions holds greater significance than reacting to provocations. Fair assessment, Eom Hanpil conceded. Let's make a wager then. Should you emerge victorious, I'll surrender all the winnings from the gambling den and share any pertinent information I possess. Furthermore, I'll lend you my assistance until your affairs are satisfactorily resolved. Conversely, he continued, should I emerge triumphant, you'll render your assistance to me without objection for 6 months. What say you? Shall we engage in a proper match this time? Contemplating Jawun-yeop's proposition, Eom Hanpil mused, what's his angle? Did he present the conditions in reverse? Is there something he's staking on this outcome? Or? Addressing Jawun-yeop, he voiced his assent. I have no objections, but I must inquire, what precisely are you endeavoring to accomplish? Should your intentions be dubious or dishonorable, I'll have to respectfully decline. Jawun-yeop responded with a solemn tone, I am in search of someone. However, it appears the task may prove too formidable if undertaken alone. Eom Hanpil's warning echoed through the air, don't offer excuses should you find yourself defeated. Jawun-yeop fixed his gaze upon him, assuming his stance. Very well, let us begin. Eom Hanpil mirrored his stance, thoughts racing. If you wield such peerless skill at your age, then you must be one of the 2 individuals I seek. Such remarkable internal energy. Jawun-yeop unleashed his martial powers, executing the blood butterfly sword technique, its second form, fluttering wind blood butterfly. With a formidable display, he charged forward. Witnessing the swift and powerful technique, Eom Hanpil hesitated, exclaiming, what manner of swordsmanship is this? Their swords clashed, and despite Eom Hanpil's exertion of full strength, he found himself overpowered, sent hurtling backwards. Lying on the ground, he pondered, incredible. Even with my considerable arm strength, I was unable to withstand the impact. Approaching him with a victorious air, Jawun-yeop extended his hand. I have emerged as the victor. As agreed, you shall accompany me. Eom Hanpil muttered in disbelief, unbelievable. Encountering such an extraordinary opponent. He continued, his tone stern, your mastery of the sword is evident, but what of your internal energy? It far surpasses what one your age could amass. At the very least, disclose your martial sect and your master. Should you pose a threat to the martial world, I shall be compelled to intervene. Jawun-yeop's thoughts raced, what? From the Chang clan? After losing, don't spout nonsense. I always thought the Chang clan comprised solely of rigid individuals. Nevertheless, he continued aloud, let's avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. If you intend to wander, you'll require some knowledge to navigate. With a measured tone, he disclosed, the great breathing technique. It serves as the foundation of my internal energy, derived from a medical scripture. I have no martial sect or master to claim. I simply immersed myself in literature, cultivated internal energy, and devised a corresponding martial art. Eom Hanpil responded with intrigue, the great breathing technique. A rare revelation indeed. Jawun-yeop muttered to himself, naturally, it lacks a fixed designation. I call it as I see fit. Then, shifting his focus, he inquired, so, where was your original destination? Eom Hanpil's smirk conveyed his realization. Now, that decision lies beyond my authority. Detecting a deeper motive, Jawun-yeop pressed on, a member of the Chang clan lurking around a dubious illegal gambling den? There's an intriguing mystery afoot in the martial world, and you're determined to uncover it. Let us join forces. To fulfill my role, it seems you must first unearth clues in the locales you intend to visit. Eom Hanpil concurred, in that case, our next stop is Hanam. Well, it is what it is. As Song Yeoju absorbed the narrative, astonishment painted her expression. To vanquish the sword demon. I wonder who this individual truly is. In all my encounters, she continued, the name of this person has yet to reach my ears. However, the crimson butterfly he conjured was truly magnificent. Eom Hanpil nodded in agreement. Indeed, he's been dubbed the Butterfly Youth. Despite my extensive experience in battle, such a graceful sword technique is unprecedented. Just then, Jawun-yep approached from behind, overhearing their conversation. Why are you discussing me? Eom Hanpil grinned. Speak of the tiger, and it will appear, as they say. Since this is a rare gathering, let's make it a lively exchange. Turning to Jawun-yep, he added, now it's your turn to share your tale. Observing Jawun-yep with a thoughtful gaze, Song Yeoju remarked, for someone of his age, his composure and skill are truly remarkable. If an individual of his caliber is among our ranks. Interrupting her musings, she extended her gratitude. I apologize for not properly greeting you earlier. Thank you sincerely for your assistance. Eom Hanpil waved off her thanks with a modest reply. It was simply my duty as a Pogyuk official. Song Yeoju's expression turned disdainful. An official. It may prove challenging for us to extend official invitations to both of you as Pogyuk officials. I'm uncertain of your motives for being here, she continued, her tone growing resolute. However, our ultimate objective is to expand our influence throughout Hanam and advocate for the restoration of the Golden Star Pogyuk. I am prepared to take any necessary action to redeem the honor of our Pogyuk. With a plea in her voice, she implored, so, please, lend us your aid. This house, I bequeath it to you both. As I embark on this path of Pogyuk, I beseech you to safeguard my family and loved ones. Even if I should fall victim to an attack during my public service, if you would spare only my younger brother. Jawun-yep interjected with a request of his own, his expression contemplative. Now I understand why the Golden Star Pogyuk has endured until this day. However, executing this plan so abruptly. He paused, then firmly stated, I must decline. Even if the debts tied to this property are absolved, after its sale, this house will still yield several thousand niang. You fail to grasp. The matter of the house is inconsequential, he explained. Dealing with people's lives is always fraught with risk. This arrangement does not align with my principles. Therefore, before any agreement, allow me to assist you in transforming into a reputable Pogyuk capable of offering suitable compensation, he proposed. Your success would be of greater assistance to me. Please, consider this. Song Yeoju accepted the note with a puzzled expression. Is this a promissory note? Jawun-yep clarified, indeed, it's a promissory note from the Infinite Bank. While my stint in public service may last only a few months, the reconstruction of the Golden Star Pogyuk could span several years. To revive its name, we must ensure its foundation remains intact. He continued, explaining the terms, with this promissory note, you can effortlessly settle the borrowed amount along with the interest for the house. Repay the loan in the morning and retrieve the property documents. As for myself, I do not need them. You may entrust them to the rightful owner or your father. Impressed by his generosity, Song Yeoju inquired, why are you extending such substantial assistance to us? Jawun-yep responded with conviction, what I aim to accomplish requires time. If the Golden Star Pogyuk gains renown during this period and aids me, it will serve as a formidable ally. Consider it an investment of sorts. Whether I stay or depart from here is my decision. Until that pivotal moment arrives, I shall stand by your side as a Pogyuk official. Expressing her heartfelt appreciation, Song Yeoju said, "Please do so." "Thank you." Eom Hanpil interjected, "You're assisting them this much, yet you've never bought me a drink with all your wealth?" Jawun-yeop retorted with a grin, "As I've said before, even if you were to treat me to a drink, it would simply be an investment with little left for me. Besides, the liquor is right in front of us. Come, join me." Offering Eom Hanpil a drink, he asked, "Care to partake as well?" Eom Hanpil eyed him suspiciously. "Are you subtly changing the subject?" Meanwhile, Jawun-yeop observed them and mused, "Their dynamic is reminiscent of Confucius and Lady Suyin. I wonder what Confucius is up to now. And where is Lady Suyin?" The political events in Gyeongsongyo bear resemblance to the happenings during the New Year. It seems all these conspiracies converge toward a singular end. I won't allow matters to proceed unchecked. The following day, in the Azure Dragon's territory. "I have failed," admitted Guaxio, head of the royal family Azure Dragons. Facing him was the national master Guak Jiriang of the Azure Dragon Nation, who remarked, "Not only have all the flood victims relocated to Jumseong, but the entire neighborhood's attention has also shifted there. It's unfathomable that Jumseong has transformed into an iron fortress with the aid of refugees," remarked Guaxi with disbelief. In a fit of anger, he shouted, "You imbecile! I instructed you to monitor the situation, not resort to the use of force." Guak Jiriang defended himself, true, but the two individuals who emerged that day proved to be more formidable than anticipated. Guaxi pondered, in a nation where everyone seems to have faltered, are there truly two masters capable of effortlessly subduing 10 people? They must have a specific agenda for seeking me out. Addressing Guak Jiriang, he inquired, "Have you managed to ascertain their identities?" Guak Jiriang responded, "I attempted to glean information from their scars, but alas, nothing conclusive could be determined. It appears all the bodies have been disposed of." Pressing forward, Guaxi cautioned, "At first glance, it may seem unrelated to our affairs. However, we must proceed with caution and deliberation. Once the task is complete, with the addition of Gansu and Gansu Seolga, we will be in a position to claim the remaining leadership of Meng's family. Thus, it must be executed flawlessly." Guak Jiriang nodded in agreement. "Understood. I will proceed accordingly." Deep in thought, Guaxi resolved, what motivates these masters to serve as mere emissaries for a single nation amid its collapse? I shall confront them once more and ascertain their true intentions. Observing the multitude of people, Guaxi murmured to himself, "It's astounding to witness it once more. All the flood victims, who were once plagued with apprehension about facing winter, now appear to be in good spirits." As he approached, he spotted the two individuals he had been seeking. "Ah, it appears this is the correct venue. Those two. The ones who dispatched all 10 of my men." His fighting spirit ignited, and Guaxi resolved, "Very well, I shall investigate shortly. I will personally gauge the extent of their abilities." After walking a short distance, Jawun-yeop abruptly halted, prompting Eom Hanpil's inquiry, "What's the matter?" In a hushed tone, Jawun-yeop cautioned, "Shoo, silence. We're being followed." Surprised, Eom Hanpil questioned, "Since when did you notice?" Jawun-yeop explained, "I caught sight of someone earlier at the mansion today. I have a knack for remembering faces." "Remain with the princess," he instructed. "I will lead them away." Perplexed by the sudden change in pace, Song Yeoju inquired, "Why is the young master hastening his steps?" Eom Hanpil urged her, "Don't turn back. Follow me quickly, your highness." With a sneer, Song Yeoju remarked, "Is someone trailing him?" Eom Hanpil voiced his concern, "But can you handle it alone? You don't even have a sword." Jawun-yeop responded confidently, "He's too inquisitive. I wish to test my skills against him one-on-one. He's likely to approach me when I'm alone. Besides, there's something I need to ascertain about that individual. This arrangement is more convenient. I understand I'll face criticism if I disregard your orders. With a disdainful smirk, Aom Hanpil muttered, "This young man, barely 5 or 6 years my junior, dictating orders at every turn. Let's proceed, Your Highness." Observing the change in direction, Guak Jiriang pondered, what's this sudden deviation in his path? Wasn't he supposed to be following the princess for her protection? This presents an opportunity. I wonder what skills he possesses. Let me investigate. As he advanced through the area, Guak Jiriang found himself alone. Perplexed, he thought, he vanished. Where could he have disappeared so swiftly? Suddenly, Jawun-yep emerged behind him and posed a question, "Are you from the country of Azure Dragon?" Turning to face him, Guak Jiriang responded, "Your perceptiveness is rather impressive." Jawun-yep remarked casually while toying with the butterfly, "You seem to revel in complexity, don't you? People like you only contribute to making the world more convoluted." Then, he posed a question, "So, are you itching for a fight? I'm game if that's what you desire. Perhaps your noble demeanor clashes awkwardly with the beggar facade, but a little dirt and a tumble could make it more convincing." With a fierce grin, Guak Jiriang inquired, "Are you planning to attack me barehanded? Even with a mere wooden stick, it appears you're quite adept at wielding a sword." Jawun-yep reassured him, "I'll manage just fine. No need to fret. You'll soon learn whether I'm worthy of wielding a sword or not." Without hesitation, Guak Jiriang lunged forward, declaring, "Don't hold grudges for your actions." Observing his opponent's sloppy stance, Jawun-yep murmured to himself, "Your form is lacking. It's evident you're no martial artist beyond your swordsmanship." With that, he too thrust forward with his hand, just as it was about to make contact with Guak Jiriang's. The force behind Jawun-yep's punch was so intense that had it made contact, it would have shattered Guak Jiriang's face. Frowning in disbelief, Guak Jiriang muttered, "What? I never imagined such a powerful burst of wind pressure could emanate from a fist. Who is this guy, and what exactly is he capable of?" With determination, he launched his attack, his claws slicing through the fabric of Jawun-yep's clothing. Observing Guak Jiriang's countermove, Jawun-yep acknowledged, "I see. To evade this. You're truly remarkable." Reflecting on his opponent's potential, Jawun-yep thought to himself, though he may seem clumsy now, there's no denying his latent prowess. But this artificial enhancement must be eradicated from its very source. Cultivated up to the 8th level. Preparing to confront Guak Jiriang with his ghost claws technique, Jawun-yep charged forward, intent on targeting one of his arms first. However, before he could execute his attack, Guak Jiriang swiftly seized both of his arms. In response, Jawun-yep unleashed a powerful burst, causing Guak Jiriang to stagger backwards and fall. Taking a moment to catch his breath, Jawun-yep inwardly strategized, "This time, instead of relying on evasion, I need to swiftly divide and attack." With determination, he unleashed a barrage of punches, each landing with precision causing Guak Jiriang to step back, visibly injured. Amazed by Jawun-yep's resilience, Guak Jiriang marveled, "Impressive. You're deflecting my attacks with only half of your power. And your counterattacks are even more dynamic than before. You're truly a master of martial arts." Despite his admiration, Guak Jiriang couldn't help but wonder how long Jawun-yep could maintain such a relentless onslaught. Undeterred, Guak Jiriang pressed forward, determined to test the limits of Jawun-yep's endurance. As the battle raged on, it became evident that Jawun-yep had sustained injuries to his left leg. Observing the exchange, Guak Jiriang cast a scornful glance at Eom Hanpil and remarked, "Unbelievable. While I'm engaged in combat, you stand idly by, flirting." Concerned, Song Yeoju inquired, shouldn't you go and assist him? Eom Hanpil responded calmly, not yet. Let's wait and observe for now. While this young man may struggle on his own, I'll intervene if the situation escalates significantly. It's not worth intervening prematurely. Besides, he seems adept at dodging attacks as if he's already adapted to them. Song Yeoju expressed her uncertainty, stating, while I acknowledge his remarkable talent, his origins remain shrouded in mystery. Eom Hanpil, torn between admiration and envy, admitted, indeed, he possesses exceptional skill. However, witnessing such talent only fuels my competitive spirit. It makes me itch to engage him in combat. But really, are you thinking about food at a time like this? With a hint of disdain, Song Yeoju remarked, this man. What sinister intentions lie within his mind? Meanwhile, amidst the clash on the battlefield, Guak Jiriang was taken aback by Jawun-yep's evasive maneuvers. How is he doing this? His avoidance grows more precise with each exchange. It's as if he's anticipating my every move. Observing his opponent intently, Jawun-yep grinned confidently, declaring, I see it all. With a swift and powerful strike, he forced Guak Jiriang to retreat. Guak Jiriang, bewildered, sneered, your martial arts just now. And that strike. It resembles the techniques of the Gongja butterfly. Simultaneously, Song Yeoju and Eom Hanpil reacted to Jawun-yep's moves. Song Yeoju exclaimed in recognition, it is. Eom Hanpil, now understanding Jawun-yep's strategy, remarked, he's mirroring his opponent's actions. So that's why I'm eager to face him in combat. I see now, it all makes sense. With a revelation, Jawun-yep declared, he's a thief, emulating his adversary's techniques. Guak Jiriang hesitated, taken aback by Jawun-yep's ability to mimic his movements. How is this possible? Is he truly imitating my every move? I must proceed cautiously with you. Jawun-yep, opting for a different approach, calmly stated, I believe it's time to switch tactics. It seems punching isn't my forte after all. In response, Guak Jiriang's smile turned sinister as he charged forward, taunting, very well. Prepare to face the consequences. Suddenly, Jawun-yep swiftly appeared before him, delivering a powerful strike with his Buddhist stick to Guak Jiriang's face. Guak Jiriang winced as he witnessed the manifestation of the martial butterflies. Jawun-yep continued his assault, landing multiple strikes on Guak Jiriang. Witnessing the spectacle, Song Yeoju gasped, that's the red butterfly. As Guak Jiriang fell to the ground, he gritted his teeth in frustration. This guy. Seeking answers, he demanded, what rank are you? Jawun-yep responded calmly, rank? Your organization seems fixated on ranks. Perplexed, Guak Jiriang pressed further, who exactly are you? Jawun-yep replied with resolve, allow me to clarify. I have no affiliations with any organization, unlike you. I am unaware of the group you belong to. It's because of individuals like you that the woman I seek remains concealed within the world. In essence, if I wish to locate her, I'll dismantle your organization and confront any other groups you believe are associated with them, Jawun-yep asserted firmly. Inform them that if they wish to impede my progress, they must send individuals of greater strength. I have no time to waste on petty troublemakers like you. Enraged by the insults, Guak Jiriang lunged forward, bellowing, die. In response, Jawun-yep struck with a force so powerful it left Guak Jiriang battered and sprawled on the ground, barely clinging to life. Observing the defeated foe, Jawun-yep discarded his stick, remarking, individuals who believe themselves to be the center of the universe often struggle to accept the presence of someone stronger. The true game is played by those who acknowledge this fact. Eom Hanpil suggested, shouldn't we just finish him off? No, Jawun-yep replied. Let him live. He'll scurry away like a rat, forced into hiding. Observing Jawun-yep's resolve, Eom Hanpil couldn't help but wonder, is he truly traversing the world in search of her? Jawun-yep pondered aloud, I fail to comprehend how the person who trained him could call themselves a teacher. Eom Hanpil retorted, he's one of the top 100 instructors of Kamseuk. But when it comes to martial arts, you're not in his league, kid. Jawun-yep scoffed, Kamseuk. So that's the case. Curious, Eom Hanpil inquired, are you familiar with this place? It's a martial arts school. Yes, run by Chu Pil-young. They teach authentic techniques there. With a hint of amusement, Jawun-yep chuckled, ah, I see. It's a place I'm acquainted with. Moments later, as Song Yeoju approached, she expressed her gratitude, remarking, thanks to you, my father seems to have improved significantly. I'm truly grateful. Observing their interaction, Jawun-yep whispered, her concern for the village is truly remarkable. Eom Hanpil nodded in agreement, commenting, your plan worked out nicely. She's receiving praise from all corners. Changing the subject, he addressed Jawun-yep, by the way, I noticed you were surprised by the strength of your opponent's technique during the fight. It's not just about winning, next time, don't underestimate your adversary. Jawun-yep defensively replied, what? I didn't underestimate him. Eom Hanpil advised, regardless, next time, engage in a proper sword fight. Jawun-yep's lips curled into a sneer. A proper sword. The one I wield now won't suffice for the challenges ahead. It was adequate against him, fighting bare-handed, but I can't anticipate the strength of future adversaries. With determination in his eyes, he rose from his seat. Eom Hanpil queried, where are you headed? To the weapon store, Jawun-yep replied curtly. I need to find a more suitable sword. At the weapon store, he perused the assortment of blades, eventually settling on a conventional sword. Yet, as he left the store, a nagging dissatisfaction lingered. His gaze then fell upon another shop. What's this? Another weapon store? Intrigued, he stepped inside and surveyed the array of weapons. His eyes alighted on several options, but none seemed to resonate with him. Picking up a sphere, he pondered, what kind of weapon would serve me well? After a moment's consideration, he set it down, a sense of incompleteness gnawing at him. At that moment, an aged figure entered, his presence commanding attention. You. Have you ever crafted a weapon for yourself? He inquired, his voice weathered yet wise. Jawun-yep shook his head. No, I haven't. My training has solely revolved around practice with a wooden sword. The old man regarded him thoughtfully. It seems you were practicing with your soul and heart, he remarked cryptically. Perplexed, Jawun-yep questioned, what do you mean? The old man elucidated, most of the weapons here are crafted by me. However, you were drawn to the ones I didn't fashion. Understanding dawned upon Jawun-yep. I see. I owe you an apology, sir. Those weapons appeared particularly exceptional compared to the others. It's difficult to explain, but... The old man interjected, revealing, they were made by my son. Only those attuned to the breath of the weapon can discern the difference. Jawun-yep nodded in comprehension. I see. Is your son? He was enamored with his beloved and left in the dead of night, abandoning his craft, the old man lamented. I hope he's safe, but... Reassuringly, Jawun-yep remarked, your son possesses exceptional talent, he will thrive wherever he goes. The old man's expression turned somber. Perhaps he's now trapped in some forsaken cave, shackled by his passion, hammering away. If he's still alive, he mused darkly. So, what brings you here? He inquired, redirecting the conversation. Jawun-yep examined the sword closely, intrigued by its unique design. My sword technique requires a blade capable of executing fluid, fluttering movements. Do you have such a sword? He inquired. The old man nodded knowingly and reached into a nearby table drawer. From within, he retrieved a belt-like sword and handed it to Jawun-yep. Take this, he urged. As Jawun-yep lifted the sword, he couldn't help but wonder, is this even a sword? It's a style favored by many, the old man explained. Jawun-yep pondered silently for a moment before inquiring, how much do you want me to pay for it? The old man waved off the offer. Just take it. It's been a while since I've taken it out, I do not need the money. Grateful for the gift, Jawun-yep bowed respectfully. Thank you, sir. It would be an honor to meet the sword maker someday. When that time comes, I will surely repay you. With the sword in hand, Jawun-yep made his way to the courtyard. There, he tested its weight and balance, executing powerful yet fluid attacks with ease. Observing from a distance, Song Yeoju remarked, the young master is energetic. It's great to wield such a sword freely. Meanwhile, Aom Hanpil murmured to himself, what a beautiful sword. I don't know how he does that. He can break my 10-star attack. He's a completely inscrutable person. At that moment, Song Yeohun arrived and said, Nuna. I'm back. Song Yeoju asked, Oh, Yeohun. Where have you been, too? Song Yeohun replied, I just took a walk around the country. Maybe it's because a lot of people came in these days. I feel like the country is back to life like before. If this peace continues in the future, there is nothing I can hope for. Hearing that, Song Yeoju thought, yeah. As long as there's a master or a thief, it'll be safe here. But the danger of aiming for the country will persist. Yeohun. Let's get ready for the journey.
Hi, you're watching Any Ears English. The next day. Eom Hanpil groaned. Ugh, I drank too much. Jawun-yep urged him, pull yourself together. You just took what the head of the agency gave you and said it was good. Like that nail monster last time, who knows what might pop out. Just as he was speaking, Myugi watched them from behind and gave the signal. Eom Hanpil spotted him and gritted his teeth. That jerk is here again. Why? Stepping forward, he said, Okay. I guess we should wipe out the Blue Dragon Bureau guys. Even having a drink requires being cautious. You go in first. Oh, my stomach. Observing his unnecessary act, Jawun-yep muttered, You little. Later, Eom Hanpil asked, Where did the others go? Why are you alone panting all the way here? Meeting like this in broad daylight, Jawun-yep will notice everything. Mugabe informed him urgently, It's urgent. One of the people that the senior was looking for is coming this way. He is being chased by assassins from the Black Killers. Eom Hanpil frowned and asked, What? Among all those assassins, why them? Then, with dissatisfaction, he grabbed his head and said, Oh man. After waiting all these years, that guy is possibly bringing trouble. He must be relentlessly pursued. I have to go rescue him right away. Later that day, a girl was being chased by those assassins. She ran while pondering, annoying guys. Being chased just because of one stupid mistake. What's going on as soon as I descend? 10 days ago. The same girl was famished and eating heartily. Heh. So delicious. There are so many delicious things besides wild boar jerky. The person in front of her, observing, grabbed the girl's sword and moved forward, saying, Wow, this is such a magnificent sword. Pick up. How strange. Yuck. It's like inviting a dung beetle to sit down for a meal, but where did you get something so valuable? Pick up. The girl grew irritated and shouted, Who's this annoying fly? Ruining the taste of my meal. She snatched her sword back and said, Give it to me. This isn't something a scoundrel like you should be touching. If you want to pretend to know about martial arts, take off that gold ring first. The man raised his sword and shouted in anger, Eek. This woman wants to die. In the next moment, the girl charged forward and slashed with her sword. With that attack, the man's pants loosened and were pierced. The girl looked back and laughed. Huh. Why did you pretend to be so poised? Turns out you're not even worth looking at. Do rich folks usually hire assassins like this? I spent my childhood in the mountains. I just want to see the world a little more comfortably. Ugh. Instead of suffering like this, it's better to just kill them all somehow. Suddenly, her attention shifted as an old man appeared on the side. Oh, there's someone here. These guys, to kill me, they'll even use innocent bystanders. After thinking for a moment, she shouted, Grandpa, get away from me. Those assassins over there. But unexpectedly, that old man also attempted to kill her. The girl didn't expect that much. This guy is an assassin too. At that crucial moment, Jawun-yep's blade appeared and intercepted the old man's attack. Soo-yeon observed and wondered, he's quick with his sword. Is he a martial artist? Jawun-yep said, that's quite intriguing. The girl asked, who are you? Suddenly, at that moment, the assassin's leader charged forward but was easily dodged and attacked by Jawun-yep. Observing his tremendous martial skills, the other assassins frowned and instantly backed off, thinking, he's an expert martial artist. To kill the leader in a single blow. If it goes like this, we'll be at a disadvantage. We should retreat quickly. As he was just thinking, he was collided by someone. What? It was none other than Eom Hanpil, and instantly he smashed that assassin, making him fly back. Eom Hanpil saw Jawun-yep and said, Huh? Hey, you. Why are you here? Jawun-yep replied, Your actions seemed suspicious, so I followed you. Eom Hanpil said, Don't be ridiculous. I'm not dumb enough to be tailed. Jawun-yep countered, Then is it believable for me to arrive first and wait for you? Their conversation was interrupted as the girl asked, Who are you guys exactly? Jawun-yep said, Take your time talking. I won't interfere. I'll keep an eye on the surroundings. The girl wondered, What the? Seriously. Eom Hanpil assured her, Don't worry about that guy. He's always like that. He took out a pendant and asked, Let me ask you straight. Do you have this too? The girl also revealed her pendant and said, So do you? Eom Hanpil nodded, That's for sure. The girl asked, Then what about that guy with the sword? Eom Hanpil replied, No, he doesn't. How do I even begin to explain this? Later, Jawun-yep was chasing a girl. The girl took out her needles and released them at Jawun-yep. Jawun-yep easily grabbed the needles with his bare hand and threw one of them back at her. One of the needles sharply hit the girl's chest, and she screamed in pain, before falling to the ground. Jawun-yep stepped forward with the remaining needles and asked with a cold tone, that old man Xing Biao from earlier, and even these invisible needles. Where did these weapons come from? Tell me quickly. Where is the person who created these invisible needles? The girl looked to the side and replied, What are you talking about? Jawun-yep said, Jongri J. Jong. You saw my engraved sword, right? He is the one who made that sword. I made a promise to his father that I would find his missing son. I can feel his touch on this weapon. I'll let you go if you tell me where Jongri J. Jong is first. Suddenly, the girl's mouth curled up and she replied, He. That clueless fool will spend his whole life pounding a hammer in the dungeon until he dies. Jawun-yep said, So you're the woman who kidnapped him. The girl said, My brother and my grandfather both died at your hands today. The black killers will chase you to the ends of hell. Blood spilled from her mouth, and the next moment she was killed. Jawun-yep said, Ugh, they were all your family, huh? To kidnap someone else's son and dare talk about family before you die. Jawun-yep took the needles. That was the backstory. Eom Hanpil asked, Did you take care of the escaped black killers? Jawun-yep replied, What? Why do you care so much? It has nothing to do with you. It's a personal matter. But more importantly, who is this person? Eom Hanpil told him, She's my sister. I heard she was in danger while looking for me, so I came. The girl cupped her hand respectfully and introduced herself. My name is Seo Kyo-young. Thank you for helping. Jawun-yep wondered, His sister? Are you also from the Gibang? Seo Kyo-young asked, What? Are you saying I look like a beggar? Jawun-yep replied, I asked that because your brother seems like he's from Gibang. Eom Hanpil told her, You can't hide anything from that bastard. Later, at the Golden Escort Agency. Eom Hanpil cleared his throat and introduced his sister, him. Agency leader, greetings. This is my sister, Seo Kyo-young. She has only learned martial arts in the mountains and doesn't know much about the world, but please take care of her. Seo Kyo-young cupped her hand respectfully and greeted, Nice to meet you. Song Yeoju replied, Nice to meet you. You look tired. Yeo-hoon, bring her inside. Song Yeo-hoon urged, Then come this way for now. Then, Eom Hanpil informed Song Yeoju, I have some matters to attend to, and it seems I'll have to go out with her in the future, so I'm sorry, but please let her stay here for a while. Seo Kyo-young was amazed. Wow, this is a nice house. The famous Golden City Escort Agency's mansion is truly different. Song Yeo-hoon introduced himself. I'm Song Yeo-hoon. If you're a sister of Eom Hanpil, you are also important to us. If there is anything uncomfortable, please tell us at any time. Seo Kyo-young pondered, Isn't it more comfortable to speak informally when you're older? Then she replied, Thank you, master. Oh, since I'm more like an older sister, can I call you little brother Yeo-hoon from now on? Song Yeo-hoon nodded. Yes? Yes. Meanwhile, Eom Hanpil asked, Leader, if it's all right, can my sister accompany us on the escort journey? A skilled martial artist like her would be quite helpful to have as a bodyguard. Song Yeoju replied, Since you're vouching for her identity, I don't think there should be any problems. Eom Hanpil said, Thank you. Well, I had a conversation with her while coming here during the day. There's a bit of a problem before the journey. Song Yeoju asked, What? What's the problem? Eom Hanpil replied, Actually, my sister is being pursued by an assassin organization. Moreover, she recently defeated one of the top experts from the Azure Dragon Bureau. The risk of them retaliating is higher than anticipated, so I'm worried about your safety, leader. Jawun-yep said, Since the purpose is the journey itself, I don't want the leader to unnecessarily risk her safety during it. Right now, the Golden City Escort Agency is shorthanded due to taking care of the refugees. If you stay in this conspicuous mansion, even the Azure Dragon Bureau won't dare to attack recklessly. Leave the journey to us, and the leader should. Song Yeoju denied, That's not possible. Just like Mr. Eom and Master Jawun-yep helped me first, their matters are also my matters. And without the agency leader, the significance of the escorting journey would diminish. What's the point of naming it the Golden City Escort Agency if the owner steps aside and lets others protect it? I want to deeply engrave in my heart the value of the name I aim to uphold throughout this journey. My father, the former leader, would have embarked on this journey with the same determination. Now, as the leader of the Golden City Escort Agency, it falls upon me to lead the way and set an example. The duty of an escort mission is mine to bear. If it entails such risk, I am prepared to lay down my life for it. But I trust that you won't leave me in such a dire situation. After hearing this, Eom Hanpil turned to Jawun-yep and asked, What should we do? The leader has made a firm decision. Jawun-yep replied, As escorts, we must heed the leader's words. The procession commenced with an empty carriage adorned with the Golden City Escort Agency flag. The journey's purpose lay in the hands of the agency leader and the escorts guiding it. As Jawun-yep departed from the central area, those with ill intentions toward the Golden City Escort Agency would hastily reveal their actions. The vice leader, Song Yeo-hoon, also desired to join the journey. However, he chose to remain at the mansion to care for his father and the refugees. Seo Kyo-young departed, reassuringly saying, Don't worry, little brother. I will safely escort Lady Song Yeoju. On the 5th day of the empty carriage procession, as the trio waited, Jawun-yep pondered, It's already the 5th day, and nothing has happened. Seo Kyo-young stared at him and asked, You're Jawun-yep, right? My brother said you do nothing but swing your sword outside of eating and sleeping. Jawun-yep replied, Why are you suddenly talking like that, Miss Seo? Seo Kyo-young scoffed, Miss Seo? You little. Calling you gonna, miss, while looking her in the eyes. Jawun-yep wondered, Noon. Seo Kyo-young explained, Yeah, you look 1 or 2 years younger than me, so it's right to call me Nuna, isn't it? Jawun-yep retorted, I've never had a Noon like you before, so don't bother me. Seo Kyo-young gritted her teeth, This. What did you say? You won't call me Nuna. Song Yeoju intervened, Oh my, stop it. Why are you acting like this? Seo Kyo-young replied, tell him off too. Isn't it the duty of someone with a position to establish the hierarchy? If we leave him alone, it'll be a problem even after Yeoju Nuna and Eom Appa get married. A blush appeared on Song Yeoju's face as she asked, Wait, did you say I'm getting married to Mr. Eom? Seo Kyo-young wondered. What? Weren't you two dating already? Every time I passed by Yeoju Nuna's house during the day, I heard him muttering things like, that accessory looks like Lady Song's, or shouldn't I buy a gift for Lady Song? Song Yeoju exclaimed. What? Seo Kyo-young realized, I see. She wants to convey her feelings to him, so she's making it so obvious. Song Yeoju shouted, What is this girl saying? Outside, Eom Hanpil asked, Why is this troublemaker babbling nonsense again? Just as he was speaking, suddenly his attention shifted. Then, the carriage halted. Song Yeoju remarked, The carriage stopped. Jawun-yep shouted, What's going on? Eom Hanpil's mouth curled up as he replied, It seems like they've appeared. Scoundrels on the road. Seo Kyo-young asked, Senior brother, what's going on? Stepping out from the carriage, Eom Hanpil informed them, 3 suspicious thugs are blocking the road ahead of our carriage. They don't seem to be sent by the black killers. One of the thugs chuckled, He. To compare us to mere assassins, how disappointing. Look at these kids, it seems like we've been out of the world for too long. Another, with long nails, scoffed, I have no intention of mingling with brats. If you hand over your agency leader, I'll spare your lives. With that, he charged forward. Eom Hanpil shouted, Brats, you say? Instantly, he blocked the attack of the thug. Seo Kyo-young cried out from behind, Senior brother. Eom Hanpil struggled and pondered, this martial art. They're not ordinary thugs. Come on. With determination, he pushed the thug back and launched his attack. In the next moment, he gripped the sword with both hands, leaned backwards, and smashed it with all his strength. The thug managed to evade, taken aback, his mouth curling up as he said, He. You're more skilled than I thought. As Eom Hanpil readied himself, the thug executed the technique of Demon Lord of the Withered Trees. Eom Hanpil replied with a playful smile, It's an old story that's been around for at least 10 or 20 years, but it's a very famous nickname. I didn't expect to encounter the senior in a place like this. The thug charged forward, saying, To think that a young one like you knows my nickname. Demon Lord of the Withered Trees, Dang Sunlag. As he charged forward, Eom Hanpil observed him and slashed his sword, initiating a flurry of exchanges between them. Watching the fight from a distance, Seo Kyo-young suggested, We should intervene as well. Jawun-yep replied, Not yet. If the other 2 thugs decide to act, we'll respond in unison. For now, let's trust Eom Hanpil to handle this and concentrate on both protecting the carriage and the leader. Then he pondered, It's clear they're from the same group that targeted Song Yeoju. If they're able to deploy these thugs against the Azure Dragon Bureau, then it's certain. They must be the ones I've been looking for, the masterminds behind it all. The thug gave a disgusting smile and said, Nana. This is quite enjoyable. It's pathetic that someone of your caliber is associating with a broken woman from a poor organization. I will personally make that girl suffer even more before killing her. Upon hearing those words, Eom Hanpil burst with anger and shouted, This old man. I respected you, but you've crossed the line. Now let me make you into a pile of firewood. He unleashed multiple attacks, but none of them could harm the thug. At a certain point, the thug charged from behind and shouted, Die. Unexpectedly, at that crucial moment, Jawun-yep appeared and pierced the thug in half with his tremendous blade. Then he said, Don't let your anger consume you. Pull yourself together. Eom Hanpil nodded in agreement. The other 2 thugs exclaimed, Dang Sun Lag, you foolish old man. I recognized you the moment you started making a scene. It seems like it's him after all, the friend who broke Kwok Jiairiang's fingernail. The smiling thug was known as Benevolent Smile, one Gahu, while the other one was known as Crimson Blaze Demon's Palm, Jok Palwi. Both charged forward with their special skills towards Jawun-yep. Jawun-yep urged, Protect the carriage. These thugs will seize any chance to assassinate the leader. If anyone dares to come near the carriage, make sure to deal with them together. Jok Palwi attacked with his Crimson Blaze Demon's Palm, but was blocked by Jawun-yep. One Gahu appeared and warned, Kid, be careful. Both of them relentlessly charged multiple times at Jawun-yep. Eom Hanpil and Seo Kyo-young observed the scene. Seo Kyo-young tightened her fist and said, that impressive guy Jawun-yep can handle both old men by himself. If I join, it might just escalate their anxiety. Senior brother, you're the most capable among us to safeguard Yeoju Noon. Eom Hanpil asked, do you want to help him? Seo Kyo-young replied, since that guy aided me, it's only right I return the favor. With determination, she charged forward, utilizing her cloud ladder art. Ensure the agency leader's safety. Eom Hanpil observed her and pondered, so that's her cloud ladder art. As Jawun-yep fought fearlessly, unfortunately, Jok Palwi attempted to make a sneak attack. At that crucial moment, Seo Kyo-young jumped in between and blocked the attack, saving Jawun-yep. Then she urged, let's fight together. We need to finish this quickly and head to the expedition. Jok Palwi shouted, girl, don't get in my way, move it. Seo Kyo-young countered his attack, get lost. Both of them were surrounded by the thugs. Jawun-yep urged, get back. You're supposed to be guarding the carriage. Seo Kyo-young replied, you saved me earlier. I don't like owing favors to anyone. One gala smiled and said, oh, so this is what being young is all about. They're the first ones to visit us in decades. Shouldn't we greet them warmly? Jok Palwi grew furious and said, cheeky kids. I'll clear you all out. Jawun-yep chuckled, hee, the old man sure has a short fuse. He will feast on kids like you. One Gaho pointed his sword and said, in moments like these, one should eat leisurely and relish every bite. Jawun-yep retorted, judging by your hands, it looks like the guy with the broken fingernail conveyed my greetings well. With determination, he drew his blade, then I should show sincerity too. The two of them fought fearlessly like true martial arts warriors. One Gaha laughed, where are you looking? Jawun-yep retorted with a tremendous technique that amazed One Gaha. As he observed, he pondered, is that kid using Gal Min-hyuk's movement technique? Jawun-yep said, you recognized it, huh? He taught me how to use it on monsters like you. One Gaha charged forward, laughing, haha. This is interesting. On the other hand, Jok Palwi declared, I'll turn you into ashes. Die. Seo Kyo-young somehow managed to dodge the powerful blow. Jok Palwi appreciated, oh ho. Looks like you're an expert in avoiding attacks. I'll just admit it, you're talented. Seo Kyo-young struggled to fight against him. And at one point, unfortunately, her sword was dropped. Seeing that, Eom Hanpil charged forward, drew his sword, and said, these guys keep crawling towards the carriage. I have to tie his feet so he can't move. With determination, he slashed his sword, and both of them fought with tremendous power. At one point, Eom Hanpil's sword hit Jok Palwi's face, but it seemed to have no effect. Eom Hanpil's eyes widened upon seeing that. His red eyes. Meanwhile, Jok Palwi pondered, am I getting pushed by his technique? In the next moment, he was pushed back by Endavant Hanpil. Jok Palwi was taken aback, then released the fire in his hands again. Performing a technique, a huge powerful aura emerged from him. He joined both of his hands and declared, fine, I will fight you with all my might. With that, red flames erupted from his hands and were released at Eom Hanpil. Eom Hanpil frowned but stood undeterred, blocking the attack with his sword. The red flame aura was so immense that Eom Hanpil struggled to hold it back. Behind him, Seo Kyo-young emerged, thinking, gather your strength. Cut it in a single blow. With that thought in mind, she charged forward and slammed her sword using the cloud ladder art. The red flames disappeared, and Jok Palwi gritted his teeth. Damn you, shaman. You raised a weird one. Seo Kyo-young wiped the blood from her mouth and asked, what was that? Who are you calling weird? Suddenly trembling, she was asked by Endavant Hanpil, sister, are you okay? Seo Kyo-young nodded, yes, I'm fine. Being delayed, Song Yeoju stepped out from the carriage, thinking, I hope everyone is okay. Kyo-young and Eom Hanpil? She saw both of them, noticing several injuries on their bodies, and became frightened. Oh my gosh. Jawun-yep noticed her and exclaimed, oh no. The lady. One goddess said with a sinister smile, you came out. With that, we instantly left the ongoing fight behind and rushed forward towards Song Yeoju. Jawun-yep shouted, that bastard. Eom Hanpil frowned as One Gaha raised his weapon at Song Yeoju. At that crucial moment, Jawun-yep's blade appeared and grabbed the weapon of One Gahu. He unleashed his techniques, blood spiral sword technique, first technique, and the blood spiral dance. With those powerful blows, he made multiple cuts on One Gahu's body, causing him to fall to his knees. Despite being injured, Won-ga smiled sinisterly. Kuhu. Can't believe I'm being pushed around by these kids. The world has indeed turned into quite a spectacle. But still, he chuckled, you can't finish me off with just this much. Hee. Jawun-yeop called out to him, hey, you. I'm your opponent here. Won-ga spun his weapon in the air with a laughing expression and then made his attack. Jawun-yeop observed him and thought, TSK. I can't believe that he can still move after taking a hit from the blood spiral dance. Won-ga charged forward, saying, kid, I'll show you my crescent chilling needle. Jawun-yeop dodged and thought, it won't end like this. I've got no choice but to strike directly at the heart of this old demon. With determination, he made his attack, utilizing the rotational force inversely. Won-ga retorted with his blade, where do you think you're going? In the next moment, numerous butterflies emerged. Instantly, Jawun-yeop charged forward, utilizing the technique of the blood spiral sword technique, the second technique, in the blood spiral whirlwind. With multiple attacks, Won-ga's right arm was pierced. Jawun-yeop didn't stop there. He continued slamming multiple attacks relentlessly. Won-ga frowned. What are these red butterflies? Quaff. You bastard. Jawun-yeop leapt into the air, moving ahead with the blood spiral sword technique, third technique, blood spiral scattering petals. After those attacks, Won-ga's weapon couldn't bear the force and was torn off. Won-ga said, hee, impressive, impressive. To think I'd be joining those old geezers Gamak and Jeokbal so soon. But this old man needs a companion on his journey to the afterlife. With that, he made another attack, releasing the needles from his weapon. Jawun-yeop easily retorted those needles, and some approached Eom Hanpil, who also deflected them with his sword. After multiple attempts, Won-ga didn't dare to attack anymore and fell to his knees on the ground. Eom Hanpil said, Tisk, damn you, old man. As Seo Kyo-young was injured, Song Yeoju helped her, Kyo-young. Seo Kyo-young said, it's okay, sister. It's all over now. Jawun-yeop took a sigh of relief and contemplated, This isn't enough. I need to become stronger too. Ouch. Seo Kyo-young winced from her injuries. Jawun-yeop helped her, saying, just hold still for a moment. It's also my first time using my skills like this. Seo Kyo-young asked, which sector you even from? Eom Hanpil turned to Song Yeoju and said, young lady, we're fine, so stop blaming yourself. We've already prepared ourselves for this path. Those three old demons. They are known as the three demons of the North Forest. It won't be easy to send skilled individuals like them again. So let's take a break. As he was saying this, suddenly his attention shifted to the other side. This is the sound of a carriage. There seem to be two of them. Seo Kyo-young wondered, isn't that the Bureau's emblem? Could they be from the Azure Dragon Bureau that senior brother mentioned? Eom Hanpil replied, no, it's different. As they stepped out from the carriage, he pondered, judging by their demeanor, they don't seem to be enemies related to the old demons. Perhaps they're from a different bureau and have come in response to the news about the Golden City Escort Agency. As they stepped forward, Eom Hanpil stopped them and said, stop. We are envoys of the Golden City Escort Agency. We must verify your identity for our agency leader's safety. The person in front of him replied, as expected, it's the Golden City Escort Agency. We came here from Woyong upon hearing the news about your leader. If it's okay, may we meet the agency leader? Suddenly, his eyes widened as he spotted Song Yeoju. It is Yeoju. At that moment, Song Yeoju instantly recognized him and exclaimed, Captain, it's Uncle Sakbu. In Jurong. With that said, she stepped forward. Eom Hanpil asked from behind, by any chance, are they also from Hanam? Ignoring his question, Song Yeoju moved forward to meet them with happiness. The uncle was Samwon Jingle, the sworn brother of Song Ilsun, the chief of the Golden City Escort Agency. He said, it feels like it's already been 5 years since I last saw you. Accompanying her was a girl named Jean Jusong, the eldest daughter of the Dead Sea Bureau. Tears gushed from her eyes as she said, Uni, I missed you. Song Yeoju told him, do you know how much I've been wanting to see Uncle? But somehow, both Jusong and we were looking for your carriage even in the Dead Sea Bureau. The Dead Sea Bureau, along with the Golden City Escort Agency and the Azure Dragon Bureau, is one of the 3 remaining Pyaguks in Hanam. Upon hearing news of the Golden City Escort Agency encountering a difficult situation, Song Yeoju sent Jin Jusong, whom she knows well, along with a few select envoys to greet them. Jin Jusong grabbed her hand and said, I'm not sure what you've decided for your career path, but father insists on bringing you back home. Will you come with us? Song Yeoju replied, well, then. It's been a long time since I saw uncle, so I should go. Samwon Jingle suggested, now, let's hear what has been happening all this time. It seems like various things happened in the Golden City Escort Agency while I was away. You've been through a lot. Due to some circumstances, I also had to resign from my position as the head of Golden City Escort Agency. I had always felt regretful. If I had stayed, I could have shared the burden with Ilsun Hyung and helped you both through the difficulties. Though it's late, let me help you. For now, I'll go to Golden City Escort Agency. And see Hyung. Upon hearing that, a bright smile appeared on Song Yeoju's face and she replied, Uncle. If you're there with father, then I can continue my journey with peace of mind. Samwon Jingle denied, no. What I meant was that I'd reassure Hyung and come back, so you should go to the Dead Sea Bureau for now. From now on, I'll be with you. Song Yeoju insisted, no, uncle. Please don't worry about me. It must be hard for him to look after the refugees while taking care of father, who is unwell. I have excellent master escorts from Golden City Escort Agency by my side, so I'll be fine. The skills of the escorts from Golden City Escort Agency are unmatched by anyone. Uncle, please don't worry about me and send my regards to father in Hanam. Upon hearing that, Samwon Jingle contemplated. Does that mean that guy over there who looks even younger than Yeohoon is also considered an escort? The other two also seem skilled, but they have the smell of a brute. They don't seem like the type to be escorts. That's fascinating. But if she trusts them this much, then he said, all right, then I'll trust your judgment, but never act recklessly while I'm away. Jin Jurayang assured him, do not worry. I will return to Luoyang safely with Uni. Father and my older brother will both welcome you warmly. On the other hand, the person in front asked, why are you following me? The person who was chasing replied, huh. You finally spoke to me. The person who was being chased was Jin Yutak, the eldest son of the Dead Sea Bureau. He urged, answer me. Are you also in cahoots with those who are slandering our Dead Sea Bureau? The person replied, well, don't be too hasty. After all, I'll have to take you to my superior tonight anyway. Jin Yutak wondered, your superior, you say? The person raised his hand and said, all right, let's cut the talk here. I respect the descendants of well-established families, so please, you come first. The two fought fearlessly. Later, at the Black Turtles Pavilion. The higher-ups have ordered us to handle this matter quietly. The determination of the Dead Sea Bureau's leader, as well as his stubbornness, is not to be underestimated. The person holding the rank was Ju Jae-sung, the leader of the Black Tortoise Pavilion's Blue Flag unit. He continued, I want to use more proactive methods rather than these underhanded tactics. Mok Dae-min, another member of the Black Tortoise Pavilion's Blue Flag unit, replied, my lord, I have received a report that Chu Daohua has succeeded in kidnapping the eldest son of the Dead Sea Bureau. He succeeded by taking advantage of an opportunity when he was leaving early this morning. Ju Jae-sung said, as expected, Chu Daohua. I heard he's a master from the Kamseok family, and indeed, he is excellent. Regrettably, someone directly dispatched from the headquarters cannot stay with the Blue Flag unit for long. Mok Dae-min replied, my lord, this time, we will negotiate with the Dead Sea Bureau by holding a hostage. With his son's life on the line, he would surely stop resisting us. Ju Jae-sung said, we can't resort to threats. Since we've come this far, the conclusion must be clear. I know the tactics you enjoy using, but don't provoke them too much and handle it. Mok Dae-min nodded. I will keep that in mind. Later, at the Dead Sea Bureau. Jin Jurayang informed, we've arrived. Father will be there to meet you. Song Yeoju replied, first, let me greet them and introduce you all. Please wait a moment. Jin Jurayang said, it's been so long since we met at my house like this. As both of them went inside, they saw two men who said, yes, we understand, and then they departed. Jin Jurayang wondered, what's going on? Her father saw her and said, oh, Jurayang, you came with Yeoju. Well done. Her father was the lord of the Dead Sea Bureau, Jin Sang-gon. Jin Jurayang asked, Father, What's the matter? Jin Sang-gon hesitated for a moment, then he told her, "Yutak, your older brother has gone missing." Upon hearing that sudden news, Jin Jurang frowned. What? What do you mean? Jin Sang-gon replied, "He left early in the morning, saying he would prepare for your return, but we haven't heard from him since. With the chaos already happening in the country, why do these unfortunate events keep occurring?" Song Yeoju thought for a moment and then said, "Indeed, it seems that similar incidents have been occurring in the Dead Sea Bureau as well." Jin Sang-gon inquired, "What do you mean by that?" Song Yeoju replied, "Uncle, we have also experienced similar incidents. Our goods have been stolen during transport, or we have been attacked by bandits. There have even been assailants who attacked our mansion. We've heard that the same thing is happening in Luoyang as well. It is clear that these are the actions of the same people who attacked us," Song Yeoju remarked. Jin Sang-gon sneered. "This is a big problem." The three were overhearing the conversation from a distance at the main door. Eom Hanpil said, "It seems that the situation here is not much different from that of the Golden City Escort Agency." Song Yeoju added, "Is it normal to be this poor when you work for the Bureau, senior brother?" Jawun-yep heard everything but didn't speak at that moment. On the other hand, as the two guards were talking, their attention shifted upon the sudden arrival of Mok Daemon. They asked, "What brings you here?" Mok Daemon replied, "Please arrange a meeting with the Lord. I've come regarding matters related to his son." Later, inside the mansion, Jin Sang-gon said, "Sure, you mentioned that you came to visit me regarding my son. He's been missing since yesterday morning. Does that have something to do with you?" Mok Daemon replied while sipping tea, "Your lordship has made the heir I serve, your son, wander through hardships by striking him. As someone beneath, how should I appease the anger of the one I serve? Currently, his lordship is in a situation where a dreadful event wouldn't be surprising. I, too, am deeply concerned that he might commit suicide, so I came here to find a solution." Upon hearing that, Jin Sang-gon pondered, "It's infuriating. He's trying to falsely accuse me and ruin my child's honor, using that rumor to destroy me. If I defend my son, he'll use it as an excuse to exert force. Even if I diminish the requests and the retainers leave, I have nothing to fear as long as I have my children. But now, there's nothing I can do against those who threaten my son's honor." Then he supposed a request, "If I willingly hand over the state to your hands, my son's life and honor will be spared. Is that what you're trying to say? Can I have a day to think about such an important decision?" Mok Daemon nodded. Hoo, of course, I can wait. I hope you make a wise decision for your son's life, and please don't worry too much. We'll offer a fair price for the acquisition of the state. Well, if you find it difficult to sleep because of the offer, I'll ensure your situation is explained thoroughly to the higher-ups so they may offer a more favorable price." At that moment, Jin Jurang intervened, exclaiming, "This is absurd. Yutaka wouldn't do such a thing. We must find a way to uncover the truth and rally our allies to rescue him." Jin Sang-gon cautioned, "Jusong, that's exactly what they're expecting. If we resort to force prematurely, Yutaka's life will be endangered." Locked in helplessness, Jin Jurang relented. "Fine. Let them have it. As long as our family remains safe, we can rebuild elsewhere." Jin Sang-gon urged, "For now, prepare the contract." At that moment, Song Yeoju turned to Jawun-yep, asking, "Young master." Jawun-yep proposed, "If he returns and demands the contract as requested, suggest exchanging it for your son at a predetermined location. They will likely accept without suspicion. Please allow me to accompany you there." Interrupting, Jin Sang-gon objected, "That's preposterous. It's not your place to interfere in our household affairs. Why bring a foreign escort into this?" Plucking a leaf, Jawun-yep explained, "While I'm not fond of meddling, these individuals are associated with the enemies I'm pursuing. They're tied to my personal goals, and..." With that, he tossed the leaf and drew his blade. He pierced the leaf into multiple pieces in seconds, showcasing his remarkable skill. Everyone was awestruck witnessing such a display. "I mentioned this because I thought I might be able to help in rescuing your son," he continued. Jin Jurang wondered, "How many pieces is that in total?" Eom Hanpil remarked, "Jawun-yep, that lad seems to have closely observed your cloud ascension technique." Seo Kyoyoung gritted her teeth and said, "Frustrating, but impressive nonetheless." Then, Song Yeoju said, "Uncle, I hope you can trust me and follow this person's advice. Thanks to the young master here, Even the Golden City Escort Agency survived our crisis. Jin Sangon replied, I believe he can surely help in rescuing your son. He will return here tomorrow at noon. I'll listen attentively. Tell me your plan. Jawun-yeop instructed, all we have to do is go to the meeting place. The next day, at the appointed time. Please wait until we return, Jin Sangon said. Seo Kyoyoung asked, we? Who else is going? Jawun-yeop raised the contract, and Jin Sangon explained, we'll send 2 escorts. As soon as the contract is handed over, send my son to them right there. Upon hearing that, Mock Damon asked, sending only 2 escorts. Aren't you trusting us too much? Jin Sangon replied, using complicated methods is also for legitimate power expansion, isn't it? So, you'll surely keep your promise. Mock Damon smiled sinisterly and then said, moreover, my subordinates are already taking good care of your son. Please follow me. As Song Yeoju watched them depart, she mused, I wonder why the young master took Ko-young with him? Eom Hanpil replied, probably to bring back a hostage. He's quick on his feet and has a good sense of direction. Jawun-yeop will return after scouting the area more. They're trying to find their headquarters. A few minutes later, Mock Damon was running, pondering, he's a monster. I let my guard down thinking there were only 2 of them. I never imagined such a skilled person would be among their retainers. They followed us for an ambush. I'm thankful I can at least handle light attacks. I need to inform the chief as soon as possible. If I just set off a signal flare in that open field. As he contemplated, Jawun-yeop suddenly appeared from behind. Will going that way lead us to your headquarters? With that, he killed him at that place and at that moment. Jawun-yeop looked at the mountain and thought, if we want to get a good look here, it's over there. Is their headquarters on that rocky mountain? We'll need to investigate further after sunset. Then he took out the contract and said, you took the contract with you on the road. Using gold coins as the transaction amount, they must indeed have remarkable people. All the subordinates who participated in the negotiations have gone silent, so these guys surely won't stay quiet either. I wonder if Seo Kyoyoung, that thunderstorm of a guy, conveyed my story well. Jin Yutak finally returned home, calling out, Father. Jin Sangon hugged him tightly, exclaiming, oh my goodness. You're back. Not seeing Jawun-yeop, Eom Hanpil inquired, as expected, you came back alone. What about him? Seo Kyoyoung interjected, Sir, I understand you're moved by the reunion, but we need to prepare immediately. Song Yeoju asked, prepare? What do you mean by that? Seo Kyoyoung explained, that's what Jawun-yeop said. He warned of an attack tonight. Jin Yutak questioned, an attack? Are you saying the guys who kidnapped me are behind this? Seo Kyoyoung replied, I don't know the details, but Jawun-yeop, that bastard, is still there, saying he'll find the kidnappers' hideout. Young Master Jin has returned here, and all the men at the negotiation table have been taken out. If Jawun-yeop keeps snooping around, those guys will have no choice but to resort to a full-scale attack. The men we encountered today seemed heated up as well. If some of them were like that, it wouldn't be strange for dozens of them to come. All right, let's get ready quickly. Meanwhile, Eom Hanpil contemplated, it'll be troublesome if those monster-like guys show up again. On the other hand, Ju Jae-sung wondered, are all the members who were sent for negotiation dead? Another member nodded grimly. Yes, from what I've confirmed, it seems there was a fight at the meeting location. Upon hearing that, Ju Jae-sung pondered, those guys deliberately agreed to the hostage exchange. It's clear they were targeting us from the start. Then he commanded, gather all remaining members and launch an attack on the Dead Sea Bureau at nightfall. If those bastards have any brains, they'll be searching for our main base. Before that happens, we should set fire to the Dead Sea Bureau. At that moment, suddenly, Jawun-yeop appeared and interrupted, it's already too late. Your base has already been exposed, and I have prepared for an ambush. The others shouted, who are you? Ju Jae-sung shouted, enough. You guys go and execute the orders I just gave you. Jawun-yeop said, you think I'll just let you go? With that said, he charged forward and slashed his blade. Ju Jae-sung blocked the attack and shouted, what are you doing? Hurry up and carry out the mission. The other men rounded up and instantly departed. Yes, my lord. Then, Ju Jae-sung asked, so, what's the reason you came all the way here yourself? If you reveal your motive, I'll allow you to die painlessly. Jawun-yeop replied, I'll be the one asking the questions. Ju Jae-sung gritted his teeth, arrogant bastard. Then, I'll force you to answer. He made his attack. Jawun-yep dodged the attack and asked, "Do you know the name Kairiel Sahan? By the time you're a leader, you should know enough." Ju Jae-sung frowned. When did he? This guy. His martial arts skills are unusual. Execution takes precedence over interrogation. With that thought, he used the techniques of Storm Golden Fan, 16 transformations. Jawun-yep effortlessly dodged Ju Jae-sung's powerful skill, prompting Ju Jae-sung to ponder, even if he mastered martial arts from birth, it would still have barely been 20 years. What on earth is this kid? Jawun-yep's mouth curled up as he said, "So, you do know." Ju Jae-sung murmured to himself, "I have to finish it in one go." Then he shouted, "He's not someone you should speak of lightly." With that said, he unleashed Storm Golden Fan. Thunderclap Killer Fan. Jawun-yep observed him and asked, "So, you don't want to answer, huh? Then I'll make you want to answer." With that said, he employed the second technique, Blood Spiral Sword Technique. The red blood butterfly emerged as he charged forward using Blood Spiral Whirlwind. In an instant, he slammed his blade on Ju Jae-sung, causing blood to spew from his mouth. To a young newcomer. Jawun-yep interrupted, "Now, tell me what you know." Ju Jae-sung struggled in pain and answered, "As I suspected, it was right to resort to force from the beginning. I never expected such a master to appear. Since I'm the master of this pathetic scheme, I'll just answer one question. Nothing more." Jawun-yep asked, "Do you know the name Seol Su-yeon?" Ju Jae-sung replied, "I've never heard that name before." Jawun-yep contemplated, as expected, Lady Su-yeon. It seems that she's hiding well somewhere. For now, that'll do. Let's hurry back to the Dead Sea Bureau. At the Dead Sea Bureau, a lethal war was underway. Seo Kyo-young remarked, "These bastards are as organized as the Black Assassins." Just as she spoke, suddenly, two assassins attacked him simultaneously. Eom Hanpil spotted them and exclaimed, "Junior sister." Gritting his teeth, he muttered, "They're launching an all-out attack. I feel like we're cornered. That bastard, Jawun-yep, must have thoroughly penetrated their main base." Suddenly, a shadow loomed above him, and Chu Dalhwa landed in front of him. "Everyone, step aside. I'll handle this alone. Stay back," he urged. Observing Chu Dalhwa, Eom Hanpil pondered, "Iron claws? Is this guy also using tricks? But I can feel it. This guy is more skilled." Chu Dalhwa reassured him, "I'll take care of the subordinates. Should we settle this one-on-one?" Eom Hanpil smirked, replying, I'll be grateful if you do that." In the next moment, Chu Dalhwa raised his finger claws and charged forward. However, the black assassins ignored him and headed towards Seo Kyo-young. Seo Kyo-young sneered, "These little rascals." Eom Hanpil rushed towards her, calling "Junior sister." Yet, unexpectedly, he was blocked by Chu Dalhwa. "Where are you going? Didn't we agree to face each other one-on-one?" Chu Dalhwa questioned. Eom Hanpil gritted his teeth, muttering, "This bastard," before charging forward, only to be easily countered by Chu Dalhwa. Then he mused, "It's not that I lack confidence, but I'm not a genius either. Moreover, I also need to keep an eye on Junior sister." At that moment, Seo Kyo-young shouted, "Young Master Jin. Young Master, please get up fast." Jin Yutak struggled to save himself. Eom Hanpil's attention also shifted, and he yelled, "Young Master Jin." Can't help but get distracted. Unfortunately, he got injured by Chu Dalhwa's sharp claws. "You damn bastard," he cursed. Chu Dalhwa asked with a sinister smile, "How about focusing on me at least when fighting? You don't have to worry. The Dead Sea Bureau will perish today." Eom Hanpil struggled and thought, couldn't they have at least gathered some more goons? Jawun-yep, that guy. He leaves all this chaos for us to handle and just slips away himself. On the other hand, Seo Kyo-young and Jin Yutak were surrounded by those assassins. One of them said, "You're quite persistent. It's over now." As he raised his sword, suddenly, at that climactic moment, Jawun-yep appeared and slashed his sword. The assassin was dead instantly. Seo Kyo-young complained, "Hey, why are you so late?" Eom Hanpil smirked, "You rascal, why didn't you come quickly?" Jin Yutak said, Thanks to you, I lived." Jawun-yep replied, "Young Master Ja." Chu Dalhwa saw him and pondered, the guy and the girl he calls Junior sister. Both are extraordinary experts. Is this guy one too? Jawun-yep stared at him and his claws, thinking, that pattern on his forehead, and the iron claws. It's evident after seeing his movements that he has been trained for a long time. I remember the warriors of the Chu family that I saw in the Seol family. What made the Chu family a family of martial masters is the martial art called Dragon Claw Fist. You finally appeared in front of me. The weapon she uses. You finally appeared in front of me. Then he stated, You're one of the Chu family's warriors. Since I don't have any intention of letting you go easily, come at me with all your strength. Hearing this, Chu Dalhua frowned. This guy. He knows about us. He's undoubtedly the core of this faction. I must catch that guy first. Suddenly, Eom Hanpil slammed his sword on him and exclaimed, Aren't you looking away from me right now? Chu Dalhua stepped back, grunting, Cool. This guy. Then, Jawun-yep drew his blade and charged forward with red butterflies. His powerful slash spewed blood from Chu Dalhua's body. In the next moment, Eom Hanpil launched his attack. With powerful blows, Chu Dalhua was forced to step back. Gritting his teeth, he took his stance. Jawun-yep said, All right. You're better than a certain someone who wields a fan. You probably know more than that person. So, answer me. Tell me what you know about Chang Sammi. He was Chu Dalhua from the West River Alliance's Kamseuk family. Chu Dalhua asked, How do you know that name? Then, that means it wasn't a coincidence that we met like this? I must definitely bring you down and reveal your identity. Jawun-yep drew his blade and replied, Let me make a suggestion. From now on, let's have a showdown. If you win, you can just leave, and if I win, you just have to answer my questions and then leave. With that bold statement, Eom Hanpil observed him and pondered, This guy seems a bit different from usual. Is it related to the Kamseuk family? Chu Dalhua declared, All right. If you win, I'll answer anything. I don't know what you're curious about from me. With that said, he charged forward. As the fight started between the two, Eom Hanpil thought, For now, leave that guy to Jawun-yep. I'll extinguish the urgent fire first. The clash between them was an immense battle, both of them making their attacks without mercy. It seemed to be a head-on battle between the two. After a few minutes, Chu Dalhua grew tired and taken aback. As Jawun-yep charged again, he pondered, He's strong. But, with that sword's movements, you can't keep up with me. With that said, he changed his position and threw multiple sharp claws at him. Jawun-yep swiftly dodged all the claws. Chu Dalhua continued to display the powers of his claws, but Jawun-yep grew fed up. He dashed forward, remarking, Do you really think you can win by fighting like this? As expected, underestimating others is a problem for the people of the Chu family. I have no intention of placing the matter into my no. Chu Dalhua's eyes widened upon seeing his immense skills. Jawun-yep released his blade using the technique of blood spiral sword technique, and several red butterflies emerged from it. As those butterflies emerged, Chu Dalhua was frightened but still stood undeterred, pondering, This guy. I can handle it. In the next moment, as Jawun-yep charged with the blood spiral sword technique, Chu Dalhua's expression changed. No. Jawun-yep unleashed the second technique, blood spiral whirlwind. With that powerful blow, a huge explosion occurred. Witnessing the scenario, everyone's gaze was fixed on it. As the smoke disappeared, it could be seen that Jawun-yep was still on his feet, while Chu Dalhua was on his knees. Chu Dalhua laughed. Ha ha ha, I wasn't even able to unfold your full potential even once. It's a complete defeat for me. Next time, I will definitely. Jawun-yep interrupted. Oh, really? Do you think there will be a next time? With that arrogant swagger of yours? Instead of making a fool of others and mocking them, he continued, I swung my blade thousands, tens of thousands of times in places you don't know, to correct even the slightest deviation. With that said, his blade tightened around Chu Dalhua's neck, causing immense pain. Kihuk. He questioned with cold eyes, Then will you keep the promise you made earlier? Tell me the name of the faction you belong to. Chu Dalhua answered, West River Alliance, Black Tortoise Pavilion. Our leader's name is Yeriel Sahan. Upon hearing that, Jawun-yep pondered, I hear a voice in my head. Is this what they call telepathy? After that, he released his blade from Chu Dalhua's neck and urged, Now, go and clearly convey this to Chang Sammi. The revenge of the old man who erased his whereabouts as an errand someday. I'll receive it. Later, after the new chaos, the injured ones were being treated and everything was getting sorted. Jean Yutak expressed, Really? You guys really saved us. The next day, as Jawun-yep was sitting quietly and watching the clouds peacefully, Seo Kyo-young approached and offered, Here, drink. Jawun-yep asked, What does this mean? Seo Kyoyoung replied, "It's not poisonous, so just drink it already. Senior brother will have a hole in his side, and blood will trickle out, so Yeoju will be extremely worried. Besides, you keep having a troubled look on your face. You don't have to call me Nuna, but still, since I'm older, I'll listen to whatever you have to say. Let's have a drink."